Today on Doomed! It is a sad episode of the show today, folks. See, I'm not much of a gossip. I don't like to delve into celebrity breakups. But this one fits the show, so I'm going to become a little TMZ today, I guess, and bring you all that went down in the breakup between Elon Musk and Matt Taibbi. The relationship is over. It's done. Let me pull up the feed here for all of you. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. It is absolutely great to see you all today. This is Doomed. I am your host, Matt Binder. The show is actually called Doomed with Matt Binder because you're all doomed here with me. Let's do this. Let's talk. Let's have this episode. Let's get into it, because I think a lot of people don't really know what really happened, how this all played out, and the story is ongoing too. Like last night, and I'll get into it more, but this is Wednesday, April 12th right now, as I'm here live speaking to all of you, just in case you're listening to the podcast version of this show, to put a date on what's going on. But just last night, Elon Musk did this BBC interview, which I'll get into more in a little bit, but just oof. Not a good job by the BBC. But anyway, it came up, and I don't want to get ahead of myself, so I'm going to save this, because this is sort of the cherry on top of the whole situation. But let's start at the beginning here. Let's rewind. Let's rewind here, and let's discuss what this is all about. First of all, what am I even, Matt Taibbi, Elon Musk? So let's start here. So last year, Elon Musk acquired Twitter. I think we all are up to speed on that one, right? And he decided, and I'm still skipping some things here. There's just so many facets, so many levels to this story. And I'm just not going to go through every little thing. But as part of Elon Musk's big plans after acquiring Twitter, and it fits into his whole right-wing arc, his whole anti-media arc, which the anti-media thing has been a lifelong Musk thing. The dude does not know how to handle being who he is and dealing with journalists, reporters, news organizations, or really any sort of media outlet. One of the many things money cannot buy, apparently, for Elon Musk. But anyway, as part of that arc, he decided to release some internal communications between employees and executives of the old Twitter before he acquired it, in an attempt to, according to him, be more transparent. And he called these documents the Twitter files. And in reality, it started off extremely lame, and it continued to prove nothing of the sorts. And nothing of the sorts being, what he wanted to prove was there was massive collusion going on between Twitter and the U.S. government in order to censor users on the platform. And what was released in reality was clearly very curated, cherry-picked documents given specifically to writers handpicked by Musk, who would go on to share really essentially what was provided to them. Because at every level of the Twitter files What we know is that they were working through Twitter executives under Musk so that, they couldn't actually go through the internal systems. They had to go through Twitter executives deemed by, given the authority by Musk to handle this stuff. And then they were provided these specific documents to report on. And what we found through the Twitter files wasn't any sort of government censorship or collusion. What we found was various different campaigns, various different politicians of various different parties, and various different government agencies using Twitter's systems set up specifically by Twitter for them to use to send them stuff that they come across that they think might break Twitter's policies that concerned them for Twitter to look at. It was a prioritization system, basically, which Twitter also made available to various other high-profile users, such as, when they material, for example, that needs to be that's copyrighted and needs to be taken down. It was one of those sorts of measures. And I'm not just saying this. I'm not holding water for anyone. I wish there was some big revelation, because then I would have been able to write about it. It would have been extremely interesting to report on. But there was nothing of the sort. In fact, the Twitter files opened up with a thread called Twitter Files Number 1 by Matt Taibbi. And the big opening was that we have found internal Twitter communication showing in 2020, the Joe Biden campaign, when Joe Biden was just a candidate, and the Trump White House, literally the sitting president of the United States, had sent tweets to Twitter suggesting them take a look for possible takedown. Now, we're not going to go into the Trump stuff. We're just going to focus on the Biden campaign stuff. And then on top of that, the cherry on top of that is that the tweet links provided, when looked into, these were tweet links that were taken down. Oh, so this had to be something salacious, right? What did the Joe Biden campaign have Twitter take down? When you actually looked at the archive, at the Internet Archive of those tweet links that the Internet Archive was able to save, they were nude photos of Joe Biden's son Hunter taken off of Hunter Biden's stolen laptop. I mean, that's what set the pace here. And it was really fumble after fumble after fumble in each of the subsequent Twitter files. Here's another great example that I think has been overlooked by people. So the FBI has this program where a company like Twitter, if they basically agree to help in a specific case by providing the FBI with data they have, like tweets that they have that were taken down, the FBI has a coffers basically set aside to reimburse said company for the man hours used to partake in helping the FBI in this particular investigation. And so one of the Twitter files, I don't remember if this was a Taibbi one or that weirdo Schellenberger who has an MD at the end of his Twitter username, so everyone thought he was a medical doctor back during COVID, which made his profile raised his profile, and then people found out that no, MD wasn't medical doctor. He put the initials for his first and middle name after his last name. This is who we're dealing with here. This is the people that were given this material to write about. And so, the FBI paid Twitter to go after right-wingers, right? To go after people who were just anti-lockdown or something like that, right? No, actually, when people looked into the specifics, because again, Twitter had to actually file government documents to get these reimbursements. What you found out was that the cases, at least the ones that I saw that I looked into, the cases that Twitter got reimbursed for were regarding the FBI investigating individuals for distributing child sexual abuse material, known more broadly in the mainstream, I guess, as child pornography. So that was another big reveal, but they didn't say that part. They didn't they didn't go into what Twitter was reimbursed for, what sort of thing they were helping out that required them to get reimbursed for. They just left it as Twitter's getting paid by the FBI. Ooh, ominous. So again, we're dealing with but these Twitter files were promoted, I should say, by the writers, and Barry Weiss was one of them early on too, and Elon Musk, and the right wingers and the Musk fans who fed into this stuff as the biggest thing in the world. This is the Pentagon Papers. This is the NSA revelations that Snowden unveiled. This is what Chelsea Manning released in tandem with WikiLeaks. This is one of the Panama Papers. This has got to be one of the biggest. The Twitter files, bigger than them all. This is the biggest, most eye-opening, bombshell stuff going on. But again, I explained to you what it actually was. But anyway. That's the background here on the Twitter files. Now let's fast forward to recently. Now, Musk had a falling out with Barry Weiss back in December, so she was kicked off the Twitter files beat. Musk lost his trust in her because I think she dared to give like a mealy-mouthed defense of myself and the other 6 or 7 reporters who got suspended by Twitter back in December for reporting on the whole Elon jet thing. So she dared to give some half-assed defense of us, which I remember was I gotta look at it from Elon's perspective too, which saved me that. I don't care. Just don't defend me at all then. But so that lost favor with her. So she was kicked off the Twitter files beat. And now fast forward to last week. So all of a sudden on Wednesday, I noticed a few writers on the newsletter platform Substack sharing that, oh shit, all of a sudden I'm being blocked from embedding tweets in my Substack newsletter. Now, if you're not subscribed to any Substack newsletters, Substack's basically just a platform, like any social media platform that enables people to post stuff. But with Substack, it's a newsletter platform. So instead of posting on, just on a public website, you post and it goes on a public website, but also it goes out in the format of an email newsletter to all your subscribers, like in their email inbox. And one of the major features of Substack is it's really easy to embed tweets, which is obviously part of a lot of people's reporting nowadays, because you just hit the embed tweet button and drop the tweet link in there and it does it for you. But all of a sudden, people were realizing that Substack was telling them there's an issue, we're getting blocked, we can't post tweets in our Substack, tweet embeds in our Substack. And I reached out to Substack at the time, and they told me that all they told me at the time was they were looking into it. It was some issue. And I should mention, like someone in the chat says, because this is going to become important in a minute, you can paywall your Substack newsletters. You can have subscribers who get the free newsletter, but also you could have a paying subscriber base on Substack who gets content that you decide to put behind a paywall, sort of like a Patreon for newsletters specifically. So on Wednesday that happened with Substack tweet embeds. And then on Thursday, something even crazier happened. And let me pull up so people can see. Actually, maybe I could just pull up a for this one, I could probably just pull up a screenshot here. Okay, so on Thursday, people started noticing this. Ooh, this is a mighty large screenshot. Hold on, let me make it a lot smaller. So all of a sudden, people like great Twitter user, by the way, Jane Wong, at Wong M Jane, great app researcher, finds really interesting stuff. But Jane and a number of other Substack users and Twitter users noticed that if you posted a Substack link on Twitter, Twitter was blocking users from interacting. As you can see, there's no retweets, there's no likes, there's no bookmarks. There's just the quote tweets because you can't stop someone from directly linking to a tweet. But look, there's no replies either. And if you look on the bottom, if you try to do any of these things, including replying to the tweet, you would get this message that says some actions on this tweet have been disabled by Twitter. And a lot of people were upset because, as Twitter uncovered not too long ago when they open sourced the recommendation algorithm, which was basically them asking for free work from users to look through the Twitter algorithm, the recommendation algorithm, and criticize it so they can make changes. People noticed that these interactions actually equal large boosts in the reach Twitter gives each individual tweet. You know, if you get lots of likes, retweets, replies, the Twitter recommendation algorithm goes, oh, we're going to recommend this tweet to more users. So if you can't do that to people's if you can't do that, I should say, to tweets that include links to people's Substack newsletter, then those users who want to promote their Substack newsletter are not going to get a lot of traction because their tweets aren't going to get promoted and pushed by the Twitter algorithm because they can't get the likes, the retweets, the bookmarks, the replies, because Twitter was blocking them. And it got even more ridiculous as time went on. Twitter then started to not only block that, and I should also point out that Twitter blocked it even on Matt Taibbi's tweets. If you tried to like his Substack, because we should point out that Taibbi was releasing his Twitter file reporting, quote unquote, via Twitter thread, but then he would take it over to Substack, where he had a big Substack newsletter that he got tons of paying subscribers to after he partnered with Musk, specifically for the Twitter files. So he couldn't even promote his own Substack with the Twitter file stuff. And then I was saying it got even more ridiculous because people started to notice that not only could you not interact with that stuff, but if you tried to search Substack on Twitter, it was forwarding to just the generic term newsletter. So you couldn't even search for people's Substacks on Twitter because Twitter was automatically replacing the search term Substack with a more generic term, just newsletter. I mean, again, I want to like really point out here that first Twitter files And really, one of the ongoing major gripes with conservatives and, frankly, Elon Musk supporters, which are now a near perfect circle on a Venn diagram, goes all the way back to October 2020, when the New York Post first reported on the Hunter Biden stolen laptop, and Twitter, in a, frankly, and I've said it so myself back when this first happened, not very smart move, decided to block the sharing of New York Post's link about the Hunter Biden laptop for a few hours the day it was published, because they weren't sure if this was, the real deal or disinformation or what was going on. Regardless, very dumb of them to have done that then. And I think it was really dumb. I don't know what to say. I said it then, I said it now. But Twitter, after seeing the criticism at the time, quickly reverted, and after a few hours, they let people share that link back in 2020. And they proceeded to actually completely change their policies about blocking links like that so it would never happen again. And so that was a big deal. And that was the focus of some of the earliest Twitter file reports. This is, again, trying to paint the old Twitter as the censorship-loving, evil regime, right? But here we have Elon Musk essentially doing the same thing. And the arbiter of this isn't, as we saw in the Twitter files, for when old Twitter made their New York Post decision, it wasn't a bunch of Twitter employees and executives debating back and forth, deciding what the right move was before essentially determining they fucked up and reverting what they did in a few hours. What happened here was sole arbiter Elon Musk decided he wanted to cut Substack off. And the reason he wanted to cut Substack off is because just a few days before this all started happening, I think it was Tuesday. So the Twitter embeds blocked Wednesday, the tweet interactions and searches blocked on Thursday. Just days before all this, Substack announced they were launching a new feature called Substack Notes. And Substack Notes is essentially a new social media-like feed with tweet-like posts from newsletter creators, essentially bringing a sort of micro-blogging social media experience to their newsletter platform. And apparently, Elon Musk saw this as a threat and decided to block all this Substack stuff as retaliation. And he went on later to say that Substack was stealing all this data from them, and they were, breaking their API rules, and that's why he did it. But every single tech savvy, API using developer and stuff say this is not how that works. If Substack actually wanted to just scrape Twitter stuff, they wouldn't have done it that way. And they had no need to do that. It just didn't make any sense. And Substack came out and said they weren't doing that. The whole thing just smelled like an excuse. And also, when you look at what the conversation we'll get into with Taibbi and Musk in a bit, we will get to in a minute, the conversation between Taibbi and Elon Musk. When you look at that, it's clear that's not what went on. That was an excuse later on from Musk. But this is why. This is why that happened. Old Twitter made a stupid move because they thought this story based on a stolen laptop could have possibly not been true, and they were currently running under a policy that was trying to limit election-related disinformation just weeks before the 2020 election, quickly reversed within a few hours. Within a few more hours, policy completely changed so it would never happen again. Fast forward to now, Musk doing this practically same thing because a competitor released a feature that bothered him, lasted for days, not even completely rolled back yet, all at his whims, no policy change to make sure it never happens again. I mean, it's just simply ridiculous. I mean, there's no way you could look at two things and like fucking these two things and fucking say it wasn't better under the old regime. You could criticize old Twitter all you want. They were far from perfect, not even close, compared to what we have now. It's a fucking night and day situation. A bunch of people debating over policy, how to take, enact a policy, how to act on a policy, reversing course on decisions that end up rewriting policy so bad decisions would never happen again, to today where one guy wakes up and decides who he doesn't like, who he likes, and just says, that's done, this off, that off, just based on how he feels. So, this all happens. And people start running to Matt Taibbi. And I should say, people as in Elon Musk supporters. Because again, Substack early on made a really dumb move that they no longer do, which I don't think it was really because of they saw the light. It was just bad business because Substack's not doing too good revenue-wise. But early on, and then they got a ton of funding, and in order to grow their platform, what they did with that funding was pay specific internet personalities, writers, reporters to start Substacks and solely put their work on Substack for a year and get a year-long guarantee. Not really employees, more like a contract type deal. Use Substack for a year. We'll pay you up front. After the year is over, you'll get, the money based on whatever subscriber base you have. But you have that year to build up that subscriber base. And they picked some really shitty people. They went straight after various contrarians. Matt Taibbi was one of them. They signed various users who were spreading misinformation, who were... I don't feel like really getting into too much of that because that's a whole new episode, and we're already about 30 minutes in here. But they just made some bad choices with who they signed because they were going after big names. And during that time period, COVID misinformation was all the rage, and people were building big, online followings by doing that. It created this whole thing where people actually left Substack because of it. But anyway, they don't do that anymore. They're much more in line of a regular platform now where they just publish stuff and allow creators a way to monetize their content. And like I said, Matt Taibbi makes his money there. He makes a lot of money there. I'm going to guess he makes tens of thousands of dollars a month there. Tens of thousands. Not just 10,000. I'm going to say not even just between 10 and 20,000. I'm going to say he makes multiple tens of thousands of dollars via Substack a month. And a lot of it came from his partnership with Elon Musk because he was the head Twitter Files writer. I mean, his Twitter following went from like 500,000 to like 2.5 million or something like that within the time frame of him starting to write about the Twitter Files and Musk promoting him as the Twitter Files lead writer. So, Matt Taibbi, all these people who have Substacks go to Matt Taibbi and say, hey, you got the direct line to Musk. What the fuck's going on here? We can't promote our shit. So, here are the screenshots. So this is on Substack. There's like a chat feature on Substack where Substack creators can chat with their fans. So, and obviously Matt Taibbi didn't use it very much because last year in November he said, "Welcome to Substack chat. Anyone here?" And then the next message is April of April 6th, the following year. "Hello, everyone. My understanding is that Substack links are being disabled on Twitter. This will likely make the platform unusable for me, which is sad, but I'm looking forward to a new community here." And someone asked, "Have you asked Elon why?" And Matt Taibbi says, "I have." No reply. So Taibbi at first was ghosting Musk. Musk at first was ghosting Taibbi, it seems. But then, moving on, we find out, according to Taibbi, that he got an answer from Musk. And Taibbi tweeted, "Of all things, I learned earlier today that Substack links were being blocked on this platform. When asked why, I was told it's a dispute over the new Substack Notes platform." So again, I want to tell you straight up that whatever reasoning Elon Musk gave publicly on Twitter is bullshit, because privately, he told Matt Taibbi the real deal. That he was pissed, that they were pissed about the Substack Notes platform. Taibbi continued, "Since sharing links to my articles is a primary reason I come to this platform," this being Twitter, "I was alarmed and asked what was going on. I was given the option of posting articles on Twitter instead." Taibbi says, "I am obviously staying at Substack and will be moving to Substack Notes next week." So Taibbi literally says Musk offered him to move to Twitter to write his stuff. And he declined because obviously he's making a ton of money at Substack and is leaving Twitter to use Substack solely. And then Taibbi took to his newsletter to give more information here. "Earlier this afternoon, I learned Substack links were being blocked on Twitter. Since being able to share my articles is a primary reason I use Twitter, I was alarmed and asked what was going on. It turns out Twitter's upset about the new Substack Notes feature, which they see as a hostile rival. When I asked how I was supposed to market my work, I was given the option of posting my articles on Twitter instead of Substack. Not much suspense here. I'm staying at Substack. You've all been great to me, as has the management of this company. Beginning early next week, I'll be using the new Substack Notes feature, to which you'll all have access instead of Twitter, a decision that apparently will come with a price as far as any future Twitter Files reports are concerned. It was absolutely worth it, and I'll always be grateful to those who gave me the chance to work on that story. But man, is this a crazy planet?" But anyway, that's Taibbi saying that his refusal to cut ties with Substack means that he'll no longer get access to the Twitter files. I mean, if you want to understand exactly what that means, one of the biggest criticisms of the Twitter files was that the reporters, the writers, whatever you want to call them, hacks, involved in sharing the information in those documents, we're able to do so based on what the owner of the company, Elon Musk, was providing access to them, what he was giving them, what he was saying they could see. Because later on in various hearings with former Twitter employees, they said that, and Taibbi even said it in the beginning too, the Trump White House, Donald Trump, the President of the United States back in 2020, asked for Twitter to take stuff down. Yet the Twitter files never goes into that. A former Twitter employee told Congress that the Trump administration tried to pressure them to remove a Chrissy Teigen tweet that basically just made fun of Trump. And it hurt his feelings. He didn't like it, so they wanted Twitter to remove it. But we don't get that stuff. So one of the earliest criticisms was that these guys are basically doing PR for Twitter. They're basically doing PR for Musk. And here we have Matt Taibbi essentially saying that because he didn't want to go into business with Twitter, he was getting cut off from the Twitter files access. That's literally access journalism, folks. That's literally what that is. If you got to scratch somebody's back, if you have to specifically do something to get access to what you need to report something, then that's frankly that's like the textbook definition of access journalism. You're doing PR. I mean, if this is just like, if you're just like a reporter and you're and like companies like, hey, we launched this cool new feature people want to know about. Here's the information. You could write about that's okay. That's not what's going on here. This was supposedly internal, mind-blowing stuff that was going to change the course of politics and social media platforms and the tech industry. But it was just hand-picked shit that these guys were regurgitating for Elon Musk. And this is proof that they were doing it exactly in that way. And so, after this stuff got shared, Twitter went ahead and blocked the ability to search Matt Taibbi's tweets. If you searched for tweets from Matt Taibbi specifically, Twitter said there were no results. They couldn't find anything. There were no Taibbi tweets to search. Now, they were still on his Twitter account, but you would have had to have scrolled and scrolled and scrolled and scrolled and scrolled and scrolled and scrolled if you wanted to get to, they were up to like Twitter files number like 55 at some point. You would have not been able to access what you wanted to access. If, again, this is supposedly very important work, you cannot access this stuff in a easy fashion, in a streamlined fashion, without the ability to search through Matt Taibbi's tweets. And they were blocking that. Twitter was blocking that. Oh, interestingly, right after this falling out between Musk and Taibbi. And so Musk then goes ahead and unfollows Matt Taibbi. Which is funny. I'm sorry. It was funny. Ending the relationship between Matt Taibbi and Elon Musk. And then, in a series of deleted tweets, in a deleted tweet, Musk shared his private signal messages he had with Matt Taibbi. And here are these messages. Taibbi writes to Elon Musk. Again, these are private messages sent between just the two of them on Signal. You're taking down all of my Twitter files threads because you're mad at me personally for not leaving the company where I was already employed? Really? And Elon Musk sent a question mark. No, this shouldn't be happening. We'll fix tomorrow. Give me a break. It was definitely done on purpose. And then Musk goes, wait, you are employed at Substack? And then, I mean, Taibbi did say that, but he isn't, technically. Taibbi then goes ahead and says, my subscribers there employ me, and I have a great thing going there. I also have loyalty to the company, which did originally hire me. He's talking about that year-long sort of contractor program. And if I move to Twitter, it would have been a major optics issue for us both. Just an optics issue. Not an actual issue with clear quid pro quo access journalism bullshit going on. No, just an optics issue. If I moved towards Twitter, it would have been a major optics issue for us both. But this isn't related. But this isn't related to the threads being removed. So this is going to be fixed. To which Musk follows up, yes. And then Taibbi follows up again with, I was never a Substack employee. I was one of the first Substack Pro contributors, which is a guaranteed return system for the first year, right? Exactly what I explained. So that's that. That was the end of the relationship between Elon Musk and Matt Taibbi. And then randomly over the weekend, so I should say, we already have a broken relationship between Elon Musk and Barry Weiss. He unfollowed her and cut her out of the Twitter Files program in December. And then on April 7th, as this whole Twitter Files, this whole Substack thing is going on, that's Friday, Elon Musk unfollows Matt Taibbi, ending their relationship. Now that leaves one person left, that Schellenberger individual. Randomly, Elon Musk then decides over the weekend to unfollow Schellenberger as well, thus cutting off all three of the people involved in sharing the Twitter Files information that he sends them. And so what does this mean for the Twitter Files? Well, like I mentioned earlier, Elon Musk did a Twitter Space interview with a BBC reporter who was wholly unprepared. Really disappointing stuff, honestly. Really disappointing stuff. I mean, I don't understand how you. So apparently this is the series of events. BBC reaches out to this BBC reporter reaches out to Musk on Tuesday, asks for an interview. Elon says, yeah, let's do it today in a few hours. BBC shocked. And they agree, though. So they go in person with Elon Musk, set up, they're going to shoot it for their airwaves, BBC, World News. And Elon Musk then says, I'm going to also stream it on Twitter Spaces. Because BBC was just recording it. They weren't airing it live. And I guess Musk wanted it all out there live. I think that's fine. I mean, he's clearly doing it to fuck with them, but I think that's fine. But then it's just, if you listen to it, it's just so bad. Like, I don't care how last minute it was. Why don't you know what to ask this guy? Like, there's a point where the BBC reporter brings up hate speech and racist speech and sexist speech on Twitter. And Musk asks for an example. Just one example. I can fucking give you 100 examples right now on the spot. But this BBC reporter could not give him one. Just pull one out. Like, if you're not done, it just baffles me. It was so bad. And it ended up going for an hour and a half. And the BBC reporter just let Musk control the interview, turning around and asking questions, the same questions to him, letting Musk move on when he wanted. And then at one point, Musk asks to bring people on, and the BBC interview, this is about like maybe an hour in, the BBC interviewer just says, yeah, I'm done. But he stays on, and he gets involved in the conversations, but he's just like saying like he doesn't care because his part of the interview is over. What are you doing? You have an opportunity to interview Elon Musk for a fucking hour and a half and you tap out? You tap out? Like, really disappointing stuff. And I don't know who the guy is. Nothing personal. This is just my honest opinion about how he did and how the BBC did it. Because BBC could have found someone to do this who is better equipped. They got to have somebody there who's been reporting on this. Because this guy clearly is not regularly reporting on Musk or Twitter. But anyway, when Musk says he's going to take a few questions at the end of that Twitter space, he just basically brings on all of his faves. He brings on, Ian Miles Chung, the right-winger from Malaysia, who gets involved in all sorts of culture war issues on Twitter. Some other right-winger, Alex, who was suspended by the old Twitter for I don't remember what. A Tesla fan blog. A crypto guy who always simps for Musk. The usual people who he always surrounds himself with. And they start like defending Musk from like questions that come up, like literally taking over answering the questions for Musk. Really embarrassing stuff for all around for everybody, really. The BBC included. But one question they did take that was interesting was about the future of the Twitter files. I think someone tweeted this to them, and I believe Ian Miles Chong saw it and asked Musk this. But let's play this. So here is that portion in a screen capture of that portion of the Twitter space. Let's listen in. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me change the output. 1 second. All right, you should hear this now.
Oh, actually, I do have a question. And, well, I guess people keep DMing me. They're wondering, what's the future of the Twitter files? Do you still have any journalists working on these things or no?
Yeah, I mean, at some point we need to move on from the Twitter files, but I think there's
At some point, we need to move on from the Twitter files. This is after being asked, is there anything more? I want to stop here and go through each one.
We need to move on from the Twitter files, but I think there's a few things left.
There's a few things left.
But generally, I think there's not a lot that I'm aware of that's left.
There's not a lot that I'm aware of that's left, so already walking that back.
So it's mostly just like, let's just move on to the future.
It's mostly like just move on to the future.
Yeah. That's fair. Yeah. I think that's more or less true. Oh, actually, I do.
I also want to take a minute to really focus on Ian Miles Chong going, oh, that's fair. Oh, that's true. I guess we should just... Sounds right. This is the big expose. This is the... Twitter, the old Twitter. Apparently he's been running this censorship regime for years. How long has Twitter been around? Since 2006? How many elections have Twitter partaken in terms of them being existing and their platform playing a role in elections and politics? You know how much is actually in Twitter internal documents that's actually really interesting that hasn't been released? And you're going to believe that literally a few dozen cherry-picked stuff from Musk is it? It just so happens that he cuts ties, has a falling out with the 3 people that he had working on it, and all of a sudden, it's just not that much left anymore. What a quinky dink. What a quinky dink. I want to really listen to this again, honestly. This whole little section right here again.
Oh, actually, I do have a question, and well, I guess people keep DMing me. They're wondering what's the future of the Twitter files. Do you still have any journalists working on these things, or no?
Yeah, I mean, at a certain point we need to move on from the Twitter files, but I think there's a few things left. But generally, I think there's not a lot that I'm aware of that's left. So it's mostly just like let's just move on to the future.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's more or less true. Oh, actually, I do.
Oh my God. Embarrassing. The people in this space should be embarrassed. If you're a right winger, you should be embarrassed about that. These are the guys representing you? I can guarantee you that there is actual interesting shit in there. And you know why? Because Musk said when these Twitter files were first released that included in the Twitter files was going to be current Twitter. Which means it is literally impossible for the Twitter files to be done. Because if you're including current Twitter, if you're Mr. Transparent and you're including current Twitter, well, current Twitter is ongoing. Elon Musk owned Twitter hasn't ended, as last I checked. So thus, to say there will be no more interesting Twitter files is bullshit. Let me see the Twitter files on this Substack thing. Let me see the Twitter file. I want to see the internal documents on the choice to suspend me back in December. I'm really interested to see how that played out. Let's see the internal documents on Chad Loader's suspension. The anti-extremism researcher who got temporarily banned by Musk after Elon Musk said he was not going to permanently suspend or ban anybody. I want to see more Twitter files. Give me the good shit. I want to see the fucking Trump stuff. How are you going to say the Twitter files are done? There's really nothing interesting left to be seen when you've already hinted that there's Trump stuff, but have not shown us any of it. Garbage, man. And you should be pissed. If you think that what was unveiled already is huge revelations, then you should also be angry at this. Because they weren't that big of they weren't that big revelations. I saw people trying to convince them this is just the appetizer. This is the, getting us ready for the big stuff, which is not how it works. You usually open up with the big fucking reveal. Real journalism requires you getting the meat of the issue and the most important stuff up out front. And then you can delve into specifics further down the line if you'd like. I mean, stunning stuff. So that's it. Not much really left with the Twitter files. No big deal. I mean, the real cherry on top, though, is that literally the day before this all happened, Matt Taibbi went on Mehdi Hasan's MSNBC show. And I'm not going to play this whole thing, but Mehdi Hasan went down the rabbit hole of errors in Matt Taibbi's Twitter reporting. At one point, his number of tweets reported to Twitter off by something like 2,500,000 or close to that, 2,400,000 tweets or something. That's how wrong Matt Taibbi got his reporting. And there was a number of mistakes like that Mehdi Hassan got into. But literally, this one is what I want to play now. Because it's the cherry on top of the whole thing. Everything I just ran down with you guys. Mehdi asks Matt Taibbi if he wants to criticize Musk for anything. Specifically talking about recent reports, which are, not included in the Twitter files, which means there should be a Twitter file out there on it, but we're just not going to get it, I guess. Where current Twitter, is blocking users, banning users, suspending users, vanishing users at the behest of the Indian government regime, Modi's regime. And we're talking about users outside of India. And so that was the framework, the context of Mehdi asking Taibbi this. And this is what we get. And remember, this is just the day before the relationship between Musk and Taibbi ends. It's delightful to watch now, honestly. Gives you exactly the idea of what kind of journalist Taibbi is and what the journalism in the Twitter files was really all about.
Would you like to criticize Musk now?
No, I don't particularly want to. I didn't criticize him really before, and I think that what the Twitter files are is a step in the right direction.
But it's the same Twitter that he's running right now.
I disagree with him. If you want to ask, I think this
understood, Matt. Well, I'll ask you a specific one.
No.
It's not in bad faith, Matt. Sorry, you say that Twitter. Hold on. Let me finish my question. You're saying that he's good for Twitter and good for speech. I'm saying he's using Twitter to help one of the most right-wing governments in the world censor speech. I will criticize that. Will you?
I have to look at the story first. I'm not looking at it now.
Hold on. I posted the story 2 weeks ago. You tweeted at me,
I don't watch the Mehdi Hassan show.
You do, actually you do, because you tweeted at me saying, invite me on the show and I'll tell you my views. Here you are. What is your view? There it is. There it is. Look. Yeah, and you said, look, we'll read your words. Why don't you invite me on your show to talk about it since you're so absolutely sure of what I'll say? You're right, I'm not sure. What is your view on Musk working with Modi to censor speech?
That's what you ask him about the particulars about it. But listen, this came up the first time. I think it was Twitter Files number 6 when you said after this was a big one that we had done about the relationship between Twitter, the FBI, and the DHS. And as that story came out, you were giving me a hard time about tweeting through it, I think was the quote. Essentially, You said, you're arguing that this information was not in the public interest, that I somehow shouldn't have done this story that I'd worked hard on because Elon Musk tweeted something? You don't think that story was in the
banned journalists? I think hold on, Matt. If you're doing a story about free speech on Twitter and the head of Twitter bans journalists, yeah, I think most people. By the way, Barry Weiss, your partner in crime on that, your colleague, your reporter, sorry for that euphemism, your reporting colleague, she actually did call him out. So it's weird that Barry Weiss had more integrity on that, some might argue, your critics might say, than you did.
I mean, yeah. He literally asked, and I should say, the whole reason he was on the show was because he saw Mehdi Hassan tweeting about the Indian government, Twitter blocking users at the behest of the Indian government. And Taibbi said, ask me to come on the show to talk about this. I mean, that's all you need to know. That's really the whole thing there. That's it. This is the Substack, Twitter files, Matt Taibbi, Elon Musk saga. This is essentially what I think everyone who works with Elon Musk will find out. You are nothing to him. You are being used, and I guess if you don't mind being used, you'll do what Matt Taibbi did and try to make a little career out of it while it lasts. And he certainly did. He's making a lot more money than me. Congratulations, though, I guess. I mean, I certainly would not have done it. I wouldn't have. All the money in the world could not get me to fucking grovel like that. I just wouldn't do it. Other people, I guess, other Matts feel differently. All right. Let's go to the second half of the show. We got lots to talk about still. Got a nice little audience here. A lot of people watching. Folks, I'm going to take calls, so don't go anywhere. You're going to be able to call into this show. I got a few clips I'm going to get into. Medi suplex Taibbi, says Dakers. Yeah, it was pretty great. But let's go to the second half of the show. But before we do that, patreon.com/Matt Binder. Now remember, I'm not Matt Taibbi. I'm Matt Binder. I don't have tens of thousands of dollars coming in a month via Substack because I sold out and decided to scratch the back of a petty billionaire and do PR for him. Listen, I don't, if you're a regular viewer of the show, you know I hate talking myself up to a detriment, honestly. I should promote when I do good work, and I find it to be very hard. I feel dirty doing it. I'm not a self-promoter. But I'm going to do that here because personally, I am extremely proud of the work I've been doing on Elon Musk owned Twitter from the very beginning. Hell, Elon Musk fucking banned me for it. One of 7 people who he banned. And the overwhelming support from people on Twitter is the only reason I'm back. Because he put it up to a poll whether we would come back or not. And I would wager that you could count the number of people doing good original reporting on Elon Musk-owned Twitter on your 2 hands. I was going to say 1 hand, but I want to be safe. 2 hands. And I would say I'm one of them. There's not many people doing regular, original reporting. I'm stressing original because, yes, everyone's writing about it. Everyone's talking about it. But I'm diving into stuff here that other people are not catching, other people aren't seeing, other people aren't being given this information, this data. And there's only a few other people who are doing on the level work, and some of them doing better even. But I also don't have the resources of a lot of larger media companies backing those reporters. Yes, a lot of my reporting work is done through my employer. As you all know, this isn't my full-time gig. The stream, I wish it was, but it's not. And my employer, Mashable, is very helpful in helping me disseminate this stuff, get this reporting out. They don't control what I do. I choose exactly what to write, and I think you can see it in my reporting. They just basically provide me with legal support, really, and the support of a steady paycheck. It's not a lot. It's just enough to basically be able to live in New York City and get by. But I didn't move here. This is where I was born. It'd be a lot easier if I wasn't born here. Let me tell you. I love New York, baby, but you're bringing me down. What's that song? So if you can, patreon.com/Matt Binder to become a supporter of the show. Without your support, I can't do this stuff. So I want to thank the people who are my patrons right now. This is from Justin J. joined last week. Thank you, Justin. And jumping in right now, Chet Z. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the support. Without my patrons, I can't do this work. It allows me to grow this show and really just keep doing it. And let me tell you what you get when I do when I do this show. You get Doomed, the live stream you're watching now, which talks about all the very worst in tech and politics, with a usual focus on right-wing, media, right-wing movements, right-wing figures, white supremacists, neo-Nazis. But it spans the gamut. Everything, conspiracy theorists are a big thing we talk about on this show. So you get that. On top of that, you get my show Scam Economy, which is all about the scam that is the cryptocurrency industry. And I'm going to be broadening out a little bit. I've already started doing that. It's going to be still focusing on crypto, but talking about some other tech industry stuff that's crypto adjacent. Been talking about a lot of AI stuff on the live streams after the Scam Economy episodes. So that's definitely part of it. I do a 6-person panel show every Thursday called Leftist Mafia with David Dole of The Rational National, the great Olay, who is just launched her own YouTube channel, Mike Figueredo of The Humanist Report, the YouTuber Illuminati, who am I forgetting? Oh, and Lance of the Serfs. It's an extra day of me doing streams. So you might not think it's part of this, but it is. I couldn't do this without you guys supporting. And we apparently have just gone to war with the Young Turks. My kids were off from school this week. So I spent the past few days doing fun stuff with them, trying to give them a nice little spring break. So I've been trying to keep up, but I've also said I'm not going to get involved in any online confrontations because I'm not going to have the capacity to sit down and really, get in the weeds here because I'm going to be too busy. So I'm sure I'll be talking about it when listeners ask me in the second half of the show coming up. We're definitely obviously going to talk about it on Leftist Mafia. Yeah. I'm also every Thursday on the Majority Report with Emma and Brendan Sutton. And I think it's getting pretty clear that I need to launch more stuff. I'm crazy. Yes, I know. Because I think I'm missing a platform via newsletter, being that all this kerfluffle over newsletters is happening right now. I think I need to get in on that action. So I just want to let you know what you get when you support the show. I appreciate you guys who do support. If you can't afford to support, I totally get it. Take care of yourself, your family. That obviously comes first, no question about it. But if you got the money, if you're looking to support some creators, some streamers, some journalists, and you're considering who to do it, who to become a member of, consider patreon.com/Matt Binder. Oh, and Emily, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Emily just became a patron too. All right. Now, over on Twitch, I want to thank Speculum Fight for resubscribing with Prime. Subscriber for 13 months. Jeez, thank you so much. Murky Herb, subscribe with Prime. Thank you so much for subscribing. Now, that's at twitch.tv/Matt Binder. And Cheeseburger Freedom Eagle, subscribe for 3 months at Tier 1. Thank you so much, Cheeseburger Freedom Eagle. Joe Spinner, subscribe with Prime. Thank you so much. Nug Wrangler, resubscribe with Prime. Subscribe for 14 months. Dropping that left is best emoji there. Emoticon, whatever it's called. I'm an old man. Really appreciate the support. And that's at twitch.tv/Matt Binder. If you're an Amazon Prime subscriber, you get a free Twitch Prime subscription every month. Just connect your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, and you could basically pay me a couple bucks every month from your Amazon Prime subscription, included in your Amazon Prime subscription, because it's a freebie. You get a free Amazon Twitch Prime subscription every month with your Amazon Prime payment. If you don't use it, you're just letting Jeff Bezos and Amazon keep your extra money that you could be sharing with the creator. And if you don't want to give it to me, just use it. Give it to somebody. Don't let Amazon keep it. It's just silly. They give it to you. I'm not even trying to screw over big Amazon. They give it to you, so take advantage of it. Otherwise, they really do just keep the money. And over at youtube.com/Matt Binder, if you drop a super chat, I will read your super chats. The Dark Art Society podcast with Chet Czar gave me a super chat. Maybe that's why Elon agreed to the interview. This is in reference to my criticism over how poorly done the BBC interview was. Maybe that's why Elon agreed to the interview, because he knew the dude was not capable of holding his feet to the fire. I mean, I don't know if he knew that much about the specific guy, but I think he made them do it right away so they wouldn't have time to prepare. But I mean, what is there to prepare about? This has been ongoing since really April, when Elon decided he wanted to buy it. April of last year. And if you want to just count since the acquisition, that's October of last year. If you were doing regular reporting or even just regular reading on what's been going on at Elon Musk-owned Twitter, there really wouldn't have been much to prepare for. Maybe just grab your examples that you needed, which they didn't do either. I mean, I don't get it. And Midnight Pizza Man with a super chat. We'll talk about this super chat in the second half of the show, because I want to try to keep the what a question. Really weird. Okay, but we'll get to that. Let's keep that for the second half. All right, cool. Oh, and Nacho Biz, subscriber Prime. Thank you so much over on Twitch. All right, let's go to the second half of the show. I will continue to read super chats, Twitch Prime subscriptions, and patrons as they come in. So please don't stop just because we're moving to the second half of the show. If you are a patron or you are watching this live stream right now, you will notice no change. The screen will go to the Doomed logo. You will hear a little bit of interstitial music by listener Renee that goes into the second half of the show. But just literally, well, you can even go grab a bite, grab a drink, stand up, stretch your legs. Literally, we're talking 30 seconds here. And then I'll be right back here on this same stream. Now, if you are a freebie podcast listener, you just heard the first half of the show at Apple Podcasts, at Spotify, at whatever your favorite podcast platform is. The whole list is over at doomedcast.com. That's doomedcast.com. And you got your fill for this week of Doomed. And to you freebie podcast listeners, this is where I say to you, I will see you all next time on Doomed. Today on Doomed.
Ecological collapse, corporate fascism. corporate journalists. Police brutality. Voter suppression. Austerity economics. Educate the masses. Rampant homophobia.
We got our first caller. Hey, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, what's up, Matt?
Hey,
You from Jamaica?
Dave from Jamaica. How are you doing, my friend? What are we going to talk about today? I don't think you are exactly what you claim you are. I would say you're a conservative. What makes you a liberal? I'm pro-Green New Deal. Are you? Yes, really? Absolutely. No, I have watched the show. I've seen you completely come out and get really mad at Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez for some of the things in the Green New Deal.
You mean like free college for black people?
All right, we are back on the show. Welcome to the second half of the live stream where I take your calls. I will read your super chats, your messages. Let's take this first call coming right now. Oh, by the way, if you want to call into the show, open Skype. You could use it, open it on your web, as a web app too. You don't have to download anything. And just search Doomed Live. DOOMEDLIVE. One word. Doomed Live. You don't have to do video. You could just call in via voice. If you want to do video, we could do video too. It's totally up to you. Let's take some calls. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Who's this? Hello? I can hear you. Well, I could hear you. Now you're on mute.
Right.
Yeah, I can hear you now. What's up? Who's this?
I can't hear you.
What? You can't hear me. Hold on. Let me see if it's on my
you.
end. Let me see if it's on my end. Hold on.
Hold on.
All right. Let me make sure it's not. Let me take someone else to see if it's just a you problem. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from? Oh my God, they hung up too. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from? Hello? Hello?
Hi.
Hi, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Anne, I come from the UK.
I'm sorry, what's your name? I'm sorry?
Anne.
Anne? Hi, Anne. Anne from the UK. What would you talk about, Anne?
Oh, I just wanted to thank you for making the show for so long. I've been listening to it for like 2 years now.
Oh, awesome.
It's been
Thank
very
you.
enjoyable.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate
from Majority
that.
Report.
Oh, that's awesome. I love, and first time caller, right?
Yep, first time caller.
I love it. I'm always happy when someone calls in for the first time. What would you like to talk about?
Partly just bragging you up a little bit for the start.
Oh, okay, even better. We could talk about me for a little bit. Let's do that. So, what's your favorite part of the show? What do you like so much about me?
You're a very entertaining streamer. I've been trying to promote you to friends and stuff who I think would be interested in you. Particularly one of my friends who's into wrestling, because I thought they'd definitely enjoy it.
Oh, it's awesome.
To the show.
I love it.
But yeah, first time caller. I never have any money, so I wanted to contribute by some other means.
Oh no! Don't listen. I don't want anyone to feel bad about that or anything. I like I say, it's literally a call to people who would consider joining because they have the money but just haven't yet. And if you can't afford to do so, there's, like you said you did. That's that's payment, and that's more than payment to me. When sharing the show, telling people about it, that I really appreciate that. That's the biggest help. Thank you. I really appreciate you doing that.
I have also mentioned previously I did some really bad vector art of your face. If you ever happen to want it.
You did what? You did
a really bad vector art of your face.
I would love to see it. Listen, I've received art of me that was made by my haters, and I love it. I've had art made of me with big old buck teeth. People absolutely hating on me. I made one of them my hater art, my Twitter profile for a long time back in the day, because I thought it was so funny. So please, I would love to see it.
I've sent it in the chat.
I love it. This is awesome. Hold on, let me pull it up.
I was very tempted to make a couple of extra ones because you mentioned being into zombie films, and I really like the idea of naming an emote Zombinder.
That's really good. I like that a lot. Oh my god. Hold on. Let me I just downloaded it. Let me pull it up on my computer.
Feel free to use it however you want, by the way.
That's awesome. I love it.
I did share it on Mastodon, but I know you don't use Mastodon.
Oh, you sent it to me on Mastodon. I gotta use Mastodon. It sucks because it used to be really easy. You would just, as someone in my field, you would just use Twitter. That's where everyone was. It's not the case anymore. And I haven't updated. I'm still set in my old 36-year-old man ways of just using Twitter.
I used to love using Twitter, and as soon as Musk bought it, I very much dipped because, I do not trust that man to run the site in a way that's even vaguely secure. And as someone who's the daughter of someone who's been very into tech and has done security tech courses and stuff like that, I do not trust him to keep anything remotely safe.
Oh, right. You definitely do not. If you're using Twitter, your DMs should not be having anything private in there. Mm-hmm. I was reading, I wasn't working the past couple of days, but I read that Twitter Circles, the private little chats you can do where you just let certain handpicked individuals see your certain tweets, those broke. So people who thought they were tweeting to just their hand-selected group of friends and users, their tweets were going out to everybody. So I want to make it clear. I do think Twitter still has a place for now as a major social media platform. You can't kill it like that, even though he's doing a good try at a speed run here. Do not use it, though, for anything other than putting something you want seen by the public on there. Use it to promote your shit, your streams, your links, your artwork, your whatever you want to post that you want the public to see. Do not use it as a private messaging platform. Do not use it as a platform where even if you have a private Twitter, like when you lock it down completely and only your followers can see, do not even use it as that. I've seen tweets from individuals that have been blocked by users. Like say you block someone, I've seen that person show up in people's feeds. So even the blocking isn't working 100%. Do not use it for anything you don't want to be seen by the public. Period.
Very much my logic. It was annoying though, because I used to be on Tumblr back in the days before that kind of died, because I liked following all the artists, and they all shifted to Twitter. And now, because of Musk, they're kind of all a bit homeless. And even the person I'm dating used to post art on Twitter a lot, and they're kind of very depressed about the fact that a lot of the audience for their art, because they do a lot of sort of art to do with disability and sort of positivity and various other things like that. Right. And also just casually work on trans activism-y stuff, which, considering we're in the UK, is not great at the minute.
Wait, you mean there's a problem with trans people over on Turf Island?
Never would have guessed. It's not great. Like, it's the UK just seems to be drifting towards, like, because obviously I watched way too much American politicsy stuff. I am very aware of the fact America is drifting very fascistic. The UK is as well, but the current government is slightly trying to copy the opposition government's policies a little bit, because they know their policies are really, really unpopular at the minute. So they're trying to copy Labour Party policies to try and regain a little bit of popularity when they're doing the hideous anti-immigrant stuff and anti-trans stuff. And it's just, and also anti-Scotland randomly, where they like blocked Scotland passing gender reform stuff using a law that they've like a law they've never used previously, specifically to target this like making transitioning easier thing, and it's just kind of horrific. I really not enjoying living in England at the moment. But yeah, do you happen to know any like good English/British lefty streamers? Because I am struggling to find any.
Right. I mean, I know. Navarro Media is good. Are you familiar with them?
Yeah, that's the only one I found.
Right. Right.
And
I know people have their problems with him, but what's his name? Owen. He's like the one big sort of lefty over there.
Yeah, he gets some criticized for being pro-trans, if I remember. I can't remember his surname. But yeah, the UK but England specifically is depressingly conservative. We call them Tories if you ever want to insult British conservatives. It means thieves, apparently. It's very, very old British slang.
What's it called?
Tories, as in we call them Tories as short for conservatives, and it means thieves.
Right.
Like, I've heard even conservatives call them Tories. But yeah.
Oh, Owen Jones. That's people in the chat are telling me.
Yeah.
Yep, Owen Jones. Yep.
But
yeah. I don't know too much. Yeah, it's rough over there. I mean, I know people. You know, it's not. I want to say it's not any better here, but that's not true.
What's worse for me is apparently, the home. I think she's the Home Secretary, but the one who's pushing for the anti-asylum seeker thing is apparently likely to become an MP in the area near me, which is just kind of depressing, apart from the fact that potentially that means I could vote her out. Should be slightly pleasing, but my area is like super conservative for some reason. Which is annoying, but yeah, anyway. Right.
Yeah, we're in weird times, you know? Weird times. I appreciate the call. Definitely call in again. I enjoyed this a lot
because I don't. 4 a.m.
Yeah, I mean, I know. We get a few. I get a few callers every now and then in Europe and in the UK. And I appreciate you and all them staying up. But obviously, it's not too often because otherwise, you have to stay up at 4 a.m. like you just said. One day maybe I'll be able to do earlier streams, but in the near future that's probably not happening.
It was great talking to you anyway. I was very surprised when the call suddenly started because I was watching the stream and it was so far behind. I was just like, what? Anyway, thank you.
Have a great night. Thank you so much for your kind words earlier and the beautiful art. I love it. I'm gonna have to figure out how to make that one of those Twitch emotes, and I'm gonna make that on, put that on there so people could use it.
I do literally have like an SVG file of it, so you can like render it at any resolution you want. potentially, but I would need to find some way to send that to you technically.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Reach out to me on Twitter. Oh, I can't believe I just said that. Reach out to me. Reach out to me. Email or I don't know. Just reach out.
Oh, something very quickly I needed to mention.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
On your YouTube account, one of your links doesn't seem to work for me. I'm not sure if that's just me. It's
Oh,
the
which
one
one?
that's specifically to your podcast is to Doomed Pod instead of Doomed Cast.
That. Yeah, I still have that domain, but I forgot what happened to it, but I still have it. But I did change it, the main domain, to Doomed Cast.
Yeah, I checked it.
So I'm gonna change it. I should really just forward them both to the same place, right?
Mm-hmm. I just thought I'd mention that quickly in case people accidentally clicked it on your YouTube account and wonder why it didn't seem to go anywhere or something.
Right.
Anyway, have a nice night.
Take care. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye. Hey, what's your name? Where you calling from? Hello? Well, that's weird. We'll take the next call. Let's go to... Hey, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Matt, it's Dave from Jamaica.
Hey, Dave. How you doing? Long time no talk. What would you have to talk about?
Well, not that long. I think it was last week. Just kidding. But quickly, I want to say you had a very good first half of your show. Usually,
thank you. Usually it's not. Okay, I get it.
I'm joking. But it really helped kind of explain what's going on. Even though I guess I kind of had a rough idea, I just didn't know it was that petty of Elon, what was going on, because as you rightly said, he was hyping these Twitter files up like it's, the next Panama Papers or something like that, and then I'm done. He's done with it. Yeah, he's just done.
Right.
It's not a thing anymore. Don't care. What do you think prompted that, other than maybe short-sighted business competition to push out Substack? Was it because he thinks he's
I think he's legitimately worried. I think things are not going well. I mean, it's clear to anyone who uses the platform and sees the degradation. I'm not talking about things breaking even. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about in a clear degradation in the advertisements, a clear degradation in the user base, which in turn means Twitter is a less wanted place by advertisers. Like, the site is clearly the company's clearly struggling. It couldn't be clearer. I'm not even talking about things breaking, which clearly they are. I mean, he could say they're going good and they're going to break even all he wants. It's lies. It's lies. Just not true. It's just not true. They are losing tons of money from previous years over advertisers leaving. There is no world where your subscriber base of $8 per month users who have yet to even, who have barely just crossed the 500,000 threshold can equal billions of dollars
of
annual revenue. There is a reason why companies still do advertising. There's a reason why Netflix, who's solely made money off of subscriptions, is now going to the advertiser revenue well, because they've maxed out what they could do with subscriptions, and they probably have one of the biggest subscriber bases in history of paying subscribers. But even they see they can make so much more with advertising, and that well will never dry up if they keep doing what they're doing. That well will never hit a wall like a subscriber base does. They will always be able to keep promoting to new companies and potential advertisers to spend more and more money. There's a reason why live sports in this era is worth more money to TV than anything else. There's a reason why WWE knows they can get tens of millions of dollars in licensing fees from cable networks, because live entertainment means advertising revenue in the age of streaming, in the age of DVRs.
Mm-hmm.
It is impossible to replace advertising dollars with subscription. Now, that said, obviously you hear media companies say, "Oh, we're just funded by subscribers. We don't do ads." Well, of course, there's small media companies that just get by on subscribers. They're able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
If you are a public company who needs to keep generating more and more revenue for your shareholders, or if you're, in Musk's case, a private company recently purchased for billions and billions, tens of billions of dollars more than it's worth, and has debtors to repay, you have to make more and more revenue and cannot just get by on a couple $1 million a month in subscribers. It just doesn't work that way. And I do think that when he does finally remove those legacy verified check marks, I think the blue subscriptions, well, they may get a small boost. We saw that a couple of weeks ago. It was a very small boost. We're talking about usually maybe 10,000 people per week signed up for Twitter Blue. We saw maybe 30,000 people sign up for Twitter Blue that week, where he said he was going to remove the check marks. Maybe there'll be a small boost up front.
Well, it won't be enough.
But it's not going to be enough. And I think once it settles in that the check mark means low quality user, which it will mean once it's taken away from the legacy verified users, and people just start blocking everyone they see with a check mark, I think that revenue will go down. It will, without a doubt, go down.
Then they tried a trick where, as you said, I know maybe you and some others, you get your blue check mark now, but they make it indistinguishable from the ones who bought. So
right now, but he's gonna take that away. He's gonna take away those legacy verifieds. So in, I think, a week, actually, he said he was gonna do it 420. Get it? Ha 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 ha.
Mr. Harry Balls, yeah.
Yeah. He's gonna take away the legacy verified check marks. That's what he claims. I mean, he already said that and didn't do it, so who knows? But maybe this time he's going to. But when he does, everyone with a check mark will be saying, "I paid for Twitter, I paid for clout, I paid for relevancy." There are no features in that Twitter Blue that's worth shit. I'm sorry. They're not. The edit button really isn't an edit button. It basically just creates a new tweet and shows users the old version of the tweet. That's what it is. You lose all the interactions once you edit a tweet. It's like starting a tweet anew. The longer tweets option is garbage. Absolutely garbage. It's the ugliest user interface of a platform I've ever seen. You see a tweet, there's the usual 280 characters, and then once it hits the 280 character limit, there's a link that says show more. So you have to click it to open up the tweet in a whole new, in its own page, which you then see a fucking wall of text, depending on how long this person wrote for. Twitter is not meant for that. It is not meant for a wall of text. If you have something that's to be said in longer than 280 characters, you break it up into a thread where each tweet has its own sort of subsection. But the point of Twitter is bite-sized information that can easily be read, and if there's more to be seen, you send people to a link. You don't include it in the tweet where it looks like garbage. Every time I see show more, I know not to read it because it's going to be bad. It's going to be a wall of pointless, rambling text. Anyone who uses it for that reason. I haven't seen one person use it right. On top of that, it fucks with the views. You'll see a show more, a tweet, a long tweet, a show more tweet that have tons of views, but very little interactions, or ratio-wise, compared to the number of views, very little interactions. And the reason I believe for that is because, remember, Twitter shows the view count. That is not unique views. It's just a view count.
The same person looking over and over on the tweet.
Exactly. So because of the idea of you having to click the tweet to open it up to read the rest, and then ostensibly you then click the back button to go back to your feed where that tweet shows up, because that's where you last left off on your feed, my assumption here, and I don't know for sure yet, but my assumption here is that one person who just sees the tweet once on their feed, clicks the show more button, and then clicks back to go back to their feed, accounts for 3 views on that tweet. So if you see a show more, a long tweet that says it has, I don't know, 300,000 views, it's very likely that if it was a normal 280 character tweet, it would have probably just had 100,000 views. And that's not because more people are seeing it. It's because it's counting people who fucking have to click it and then go back to get away from it.
So I guess another question I have then, since, as you said, I know I've been saying Twitter is going to die very soon, but since there has not been any competition that people like, as much as Mastodon had potential, I think by its nature, it probably won't be the Twitter replacement, even though it has potential, because I think part of Twitter is you want to see some of the crappy tweets sometimes so you can, interact with it. But the way it's going now, having basically whichever right winger Elon is interested at the time, he's trying to boost their thing, and even under those circumstances, it's not it's not picking up, right? Like, cat turd and whatnot.
I don't think, here's the thing though, people have to understand, it doesn't have to, Twitter doesn't have to die. I mean, I don't think it's going. I'm not one of those people who said, "Oh, it's going to shut down." I never thought that. I mean, without a doubt, what would end up happening is Musk would sell it off. Not because he wants to. He could pretend he doesn't want to all he wants, but the fact of the matter is, he's got funders. He has people he's in debt to. The Saudis, for example, they're not going to want him to just kill it. They're going to want, at the very least, something back. They're going to take a loss, but it's something back. They would force a sale. They would want, it would be a fire sale. Someone, and it's still worth something, obviously.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm reading your chat. I think they're saying TikTok seems to be what would be the new up-and-coming social media. But I don't know if it will replace Twitter because, not everybody wants to cut a video. So,
I mean, here's the thing. If we saw today NPR leave Twitter, NPR says they're not going to use Twitter anymore.
Oh, you brought that up. I found that kind of interesting because they said they were labeled state media. And in fairness, technically they are. They get some of their funding from the state. But I guess since when you say state media, it has such a stink to it. But then again, I'm not sure corporate media sounds any less problematic. But what's your take on that, Bill?
Wait, what's the question exactly?
They're saying they're not dealing with Twitter because they are being labeled state media.
Oh, right. I mean, it's a bullshit label. You want to? I think it's fine to point out. YouTube does it well. If you go to NPR, any NPR YouTube video, and they do this for all. It's not just NPR. If you go to NPR YouTube video, here, let me pull it up right now so I can get the exact phrasing. There's a little note that says NPR is an American public broadcast service. On every one of their videos, there's a little note in blue highlight right under the video that says NPR is an American public broadcast service. And this is for all. If you go to BBC, it says BBC is a British public broadcast service. I think that's a good way to do it. And let me see about... I don't even know if RT is still even on. I don't think RT is on YouTube.
No, I don't think so. What about Al Jazeera? Al Jazeera.
Yeah. Let's see Al Jazeera on YouTube, right?
Mm-hmm.
Al Jazeera is funded in whole or in part by the Qatari government.
Government, right? Mm-hmm.
That's also just a straightforward label.
Yeah. For me,
but the one on the NPR Twitter, though, the one on the NPR Twitter, is pretty loaded. Government-funded media.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
technically correct, but the thing is, I guess I don't see a negative sting to saying something is state media, because I'm all for labeling, but why not even extend it further? Right. Why not extend who backs CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, New York Times, Washington Post? Hell, let's go even further. Where does SpaceX get their funding from? The U.S. government. Right. Let's just start labeling everything. Let's be as transparent as possible. I'm all for that. Let's do that. No, I think I'm looking through your chat at the same time. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I think people need to kind of get their heads around the concept. If something is state media, it doesn't mean it's bad. It just means where some of its funding is coming.
Also, let's say you are an independent media outlet who gets a grant for a specific, reporting that you did.
Right.
Does that count as you're forever labeled just because a specific series you did was deemed important or valuable enough to receive a grant from a private institution, a not-for-profit, or even a government agency?
Right. I think, if anything, as you say, I like how YouTube does it. You just want to be transparent and see where your funding coming from, and that way you can make make various decisions on what type of stories you're hearing. Like, usually I trust Al Jazeera, but I'll take their reporting with a grain of salt if it's something that falls in the interest of the Qatari government or a story about Qatar.
Right.
Likewise with NPR, which actually, if I'm remembering the Iraq War days, they did a better job than most, better than CNN. But I would take a grain of salt when they talk about U.S. issues, because there is that slant in their editorial as well. So I think that's how people have to kind of consume media. But I do think you're correct, though. Twitter labeling state media is, tongue-in-cheek what they're trying to do. But I personally don't see it as inherently a bad thing. It just depends on what type of reporting they're doing.
Right.
Well, you think it's more a nefarious thing because they're daring them to go, or type deal?
No, I don't think it's that. I think he just decides who he likes and doesn't like, and decides to wage a certain war over over media he doesn't like. Honestly, I don't think it's anything beyond that. I mean, here's the thing, though.
People need
to understand, the NPR thing is actually a big deal. Not because NPR is so important and their Twitter presence was so big, and no. But if advertisers see these, whether you like them or not, still generally respected legacy media groups leaving, and in turn, maybe some NPR listeners leave. Maybe NPR's workers, their reporters, their journalists, their hosts, their insanely popular podcast hosts.
Right.
Maybe they leave as well. And they'll take their fans with. Maybe some of their fans won't be as active on Twitter anymore because they're not there to interact with their favorite hosts anymore. And let me tell you, you think advertisers want to advertise to a group of fucking Pepe and Groiper frogs, or they want to advertise to an NPR audience?
Right. Well, kind of like the whole Bud Light situation too, right?
Right, right. Elon Musk's Twitter isn't going to die in a way people think it will. What will happen is advertisers will continue to see that the user base of preferable customers, an advertising base that elicits their want to spend advertising dollars on the platform, will continue to dissipate because they haven't come back. It's not even just, you don't have to just look at it. There are recent reports from various different advertising agencies reporting that the advertisers they work with do not want to work with Twitter anymore. They don't want to advertise on Twitter anymore. There was a leak that happened where Elon Musk is, well, this part isn't the leak, but Elon Musk is apparently going to speak next week at some big advertising conference because clearly he's trying to woo them over to them or whatever. But an internal email, a private email thread was leaked between some of the executives at various companies that are attending. One was like an executive at McDonald's who was like, "What are we doing here? We're literally, this guy was knocking Elon Musk and Twitter, the fucking fucking McDonald's executive." I mean, if you look at McDonald's on Twitter, I mean, again, I'm not saying, oh, McDonald's isn't tweeting. McDonald's is such an important tweeter. No, but if you got major brands like this who just don't even want anything to do with your platform, it's going to send a message.
Yeah.
McDonald's has tweeted once in all of April so far.
Well, so is that they're as active as
one non-reply tweet, because they reply to people to tell them to go, if there's a complaint, they say send us a message at this link. But in terms of just like tweets to their followers, one in all of April. We're almost halfway through April. It's April 12th.
No, you're right. So here's the thing then. I guess it comes back to the question, why did Musk drop his Twitter files, sycophants? Was it purely because the company's in trouble? Or he expected some results and he's blaming them for not bringing the hype per se?
I think he thought I think he did think this would mean something, and it didn't. Beyond the conservative base going goo goo gaga over them, it didn't mean anything in the broader sense. There was no mainstream coverage of any of it because it was bullshit.
But I don't even think the conservative base cared about it that much. Like, I saw one or two stories about the Twitter files, but I don't remember getting in any arguments with conservatives bringing up stuff they learned from the Twitter files. It seemed like it was they couldn't care about it too much.
Right. Yeah, they sort of got over it too. But I mean, I think he saw it dwindling. But he probably would have kept it going for a little bit longer. But then Matt Taibbi dared to speak out against him. And you can't have that. So he just decided, what's worth more? Breaking ties with someone who defied him or running the Twitter files, the ever so important Twitter files. He chose, it's more important to him to break those ties. If you're not completely, under his thumb, then he isn't. Matt Taibbi was pretty much doing his bidding and refused to criticize him.
Good foot shoulder, yeah.
And I'm not giving props to Matt Taibbi. Matt Taibbi didn't give a shit till it directly affected his income.
Right. But, well, it's. I guess I find it very odd because I'm confused what's going on. Because I'm trying, when I try to analyze Musk, right? I try to analyze at least if in a basic business acumen sense. But the way he's been running Twitter, it kind of defies all reason. I mean, until he's forced until he's forced to sell it, I guess, when the losses become too much for him to take.
Right. It's going to be, and listen, I can't claim to know when that's going to happen. People seem to forget. News Corp, Rupert Murdoch bought MySpace, and I think it was 2005 or 2006. And it took them a good 3 years to bury it in the ground. And there was a competitor on Facebook. The biggest issue is there's no Twitter replacement right now. People can go to Instagram, go to TikTok. Those are the probably biggest social media platforms that provide an alternative. But it's not really a competitor because they're not the same. Right. One's for photos, one's for video. There's no big social media platform that allows people to shoot off just text posts in a public space. Facebook allows text posts, but it's walled off. A lot of people, due to how Facebook began, basically just shows their stuff to their friends and family members. If you actually go to their profile, you don't see anything. It requires you to be a friend of theirs or a follower of theirs. It's just not the same. So that's really why Twitter is chugging along. I mean, Mastodon, these other random Twitter clones that have come out. I mean, maybe you'll find your little niche there. Maybe, I know Mastodon has a really big, software developer user base. They've been able to really, just move on there, probably because they don't find it confusing. They're more used to the framework there.
I fooled around with Mastodon a little bit. I'm not as confused about it, but I think the general structure of it, and I'm comparing it to old Twitter, right? I think the issue is what makes Twitter, well, how can I put this nicely? Twitter is for dunking, right? So what makes Twitter interesting is not necessarily it's antagonistic all the time, but I would say Mastodon is less conflict driven. If you catch what I mean, right? You're not going to get into much
which I'm sure isn't appealing to some people. I think some people like the conflict. I mean, listen, I'm not gonna. It's hard for me to pretend I'm not one of those people.
No, I mean just by its structure, because of how many you have different servers you can go on. So it's the way I describe Mastodon is more like it has more similarities to a Discord than it would have to kind of the public square that Twitter used to be. But the thing is, the way Musk is designing it, making it more and more uncomfortable, I think eventually he might stumble up on the point where he's just kind of pushing his flunkies, try to push up his flunkies, and then eventually I think Twitter will become the point where people just don't want to use it because I hate the For You tab on Twitter now. It's just showing me a lot of stuff I have zero interest in engaging with, whether it be various cat turd posts or whatnot. And I have not interacted with cat turd, which I find very bizarre.
Right. Oh, I've been working on a few Twitter pieces, and one of them is a few of them are pretty crazy. Not maybe shocking to people who've been on there, but I think the level of some of this stuff is pretty crazy. It's one of the pieces I'm working on is about some of that stuff, like the recommendation stuff. I can't say much more right now, but
no, I'm not going to force you to spoilers.
Right. And it's not because I'm keeping it. It's because I gotta get it all together and finish what I'm doing so people can read it.
I think I'm going to end the call with something fun though.
Go ahead.
Because I think you will have lots of words on it with the first too woke to anti-woke Mario Brothers movie. You saw it, and I'm looking at the tomato meter. You're Italian.
Mamma mia!
Mamma mia!
It's me, Mario.
So, how bad was Chris Pratt as Mario? Or
Not
was
bad.
It so,
Not bad.
It's
Not bad.
tolerable. Okay, so people are overdoing that one.
No, I thought it was bad at first, but you hear it more. He isn't just doing Chris Pratt voice. It is more of a Brooklyn, more of an homage to the Super Mario Brothers Super Show cartoon. Then obviously they're not going with the video game voice, but they do address it at the very beginning. Why there's a difference in the voice, and they do give you the voice in the movie. And it's well done, well thought out, and right after they explain it, you don't think about it anymore. It's actually, here's the thing: the movie is fun. If you're a Super Mario fan like me and my kids, you're gonna love it. You're gonna get everything you want out of it. But you totally, if you're not some weirdo freak men's rights loser who thinks that every movie critic is out for the things you love because they just hate you because you're a young white man, you will absolutely see why they didn't like the movie, and they're absolutely right. It is a fun, wonderful movie for fans. It is not a very good movie.
I'm looking at the tomato meter. Like, people watched it, loved it, and then I don't know. The critics seem to look like they wanted Citizen Kane from this Mario Brothers.
But not even. Listen, I've seen other Illumination movies. I've seen them all, I think, because again, my kids. They're the people who make Despicable Me and the Minions movies. We could make fun of those movies, but you should actually, because the Minions are, without a doubt, some of the worst designed movie characters, film characters, show characters, cartoon characters I've ever seen. They look ridiculous. But the movies are actually quite good. They're really well written. Especially that last one, the Rise of Gru, Minions Rise of Gru, they're actually really good movies. They build up the characters. You feel for the characters. They're funny in terms of it's still a family kids movie. But they're well done. Something went wrong here with the Mario movie where the story isn't there. The emotion, and this is, again, it sounds silly, but I'm talking about Minions and Despicable Me. But there is emotion in those movies. You feel for the characters, especially the kids, the Gru's kids in the Despicable Me movies. There's none of that in the Mario movie, which makes me wonder if Nintendo, is the reason for it, because we know Illumination has the ability to make you fucking go see a Minions movie and be like, wow, this is a good movie. And if you look on Rotten Tomatoes, look at what the Despicable Me and the Minions movies have gotten from critics. They've gotten 70%, 80% from...
But the thing is, I think people have to understand, as you are a Mario fan, and I'm... all of us have played Nintendo or Zelda. Well, I shouldn't put Zelda in this. There's not much depth to Mario to begin with.
Yeah, but you can say the same thing. Look at the fucking Minions. There shouldn't be much depth to them either, but they do it in the movies,
It's kind of the Minions are more of an original IP, so you have more room to play around, right? With Mario, there's no struggles Mario has really been going through since Mario Brothers 1, right? There's not much going on there.
If you see the movie though, you'll see where the mistakes are made. There are parts of the movie that feel rushed, that feel like if they just spent a little time building the relationship with the characters, which there is in the video games, the things may have meant a little bit more in the story. When Mario and Peach first meet, it really I was sitting there wait, that's it? That's how it happens? And I don't want to ruin it for anyone, but
no, I get what you're saying.
It's just very abrupt and very weird. They don't spend too much time on the relationship between the two brothers, Mario and Luigi. They give you something in the very beginning and expect that to be enough, which again, for Mario fans, Mario and Luigi, so you get it. But movie-wise, the Sonic movies did a really good job giving fans what they wanted, but also making good movies. It's shocking to me how good those two Sonic movies are, especially Sonic 2. Those are really good movies. I
I
mean,
think-
again, we're not talking Citizen Kane here, but
No,
for
but I
what
think
they are really good movies. And I don't
you
think the
changed my
Mario
mind.
movies. I don't think the Mario movies are on the Sonic movies level.
No, I think you changed my mind, Matt, because when I was saying there's not much there, that means they had more room to try shit. They could have developed more of a story. There's nothing there, but then again, knowing Nintendo, they might have been on their ass to say this is what you can do and this is what you can't do and so on and so forth.
You know what's funny? The best character, and because she's also really good as the voice, the best character in my opinion, and was the character that bothered all the men's rights activists and social justice warrior hating YouTubers and stuff, all the culture warriors on the right, Peach. Anna Taylor-Joy was fantastic as Peach. Every time she was on screen, Peach stole the movie. And you know what? She's probably the character you care most about because they actually go very short, but they actually go into her backstory. And I think she's the only character they really do that with.
Interesting. Well, you convinced me. I'm going to definitely see this movie because, again, it seems the fans liked it, despite the flaws in the storytelling. And you're almost half convinced. No,
I mean,
more than
listen,
half
it's a fun movie in terms of like if you're a Mario fan. Listen, it blows away the 1993 live action Mario movie, no doubt about it.
Everything blows that one.
It's true to the video games. They fit in a ton of stuff from every Mario game, from before Mario was even Mario, all the way to the most recent one. Like there's literally stuff from Mario Odyssey in it.
Wow. They covered everything.
They cover everything in it. You get Donkey Kong too, with Donkey Kong Country characters making. We're not just talking like Donkey Kong. We're talking about the Donkey Kong Country crew is in this movie. It is a lot of fun if you know the games. But it could have also been a very good just straight up movie, just like the Sonic movies. The video game aspect aside are actually, in my opinion, really good movies. And this misses the mark there. It's not horrible, but it's not as good as we know Illumination has done with the Despicable Me and Minion movies. And it's not as good as we know that can be done with a character adjacent to Mario and Sonic.
Well, Matt, always fun talking with you. I'm glad we ended on a very fun note.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I no doubt the movie was going to do great. It's fucking Mario. Who doesn't love Mario? I mean, Mario has always been my favorite. People hear me talking about the Sonic movie and must think I was a Sonic guy. I didn't have Sega systems growing up. I was a Nintendo kid through and through. It was back when you had to pick one because you couldn't afford both.
Yep.
And you had to be a hardcore supporter of your chosen console.
It was a very tribalist past.
To this day, I don't like the Sonic games. I don't think the Sonic games are very good, honestly. I don't like them. The Mario games I spent my whole childhood playing. Mario 64 probably. I'm not a big single player guy. Even when I was younger, it's all about the multiplayer split screen games. And nowadays, obviously with internet, it's all about the online multiplayer stuff. That's why all I play now with my kid is Fortnite. But in terms of single player storyline modes, there's easily no game I played more than Mario 64.
Same here. You 100 it, didn't you? You collected all 100 and what was it? 21.
I wasn't that good back in the day, but I got pretty close. Maybe like 90 something.
Oh, okay. That put me on the spot. but I'll say this. I agree. The Sonic movies were better than the games. Oh, I think the only thing Sonic had over Mario is the music. Sonic had some very good bangers. And
no, Mario, the soundtrack in this is amazing. You forget how many Mario songs there are that are fantastic. And they fit them pretty much all in this movie really well. I saw people complain that they put, real music in there. Like there's a part where Take on Me by a plays and various different songs, and people were taken aback from it. I was expecting it to be bad. It really, the music fits to certain parts. It's not that bad. And they fill it with the legit Mario soundtrack. And that those songs are taken up even a notch further because they're redone for a movie soundtrack and they're fantastic.
Mm-hmm. But all right, man. I hope I didn't hog up the line too much with nostalgia. So catch you whenever you do your next show. So
all right, no, great call, Dave. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, no problem.
Have a great night.
Same to you.
All right, I could take maybe one or two more calls. Let's see who calls in. Let's do this. I'll take them as they come. Do 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 do. Oh, got a bunch of they're all flying in now. All the calls flying in. Oh. I'm trying to. People keep hanging up on me here. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
What's going on, man? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. I can hear you now. You tried to call in earlier. I'm glad this could work now, I think. You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, man. With the call, I just want to, again, I won't take too. I know you've been going off on the Mario stuff. A quick story because it ties into wrestling a little bit. When I was a little kid, I wanted to play the WrestleMania game on Nintendo, and my sisters wanted to play Super Mario. So, in order to get me to stop playing the WrestleMania game, they told me that if Mario steps on a bunch of those little Koopas, that the Koopa's father is Andre the Giant, and sooner or later he'll come and he'll do something to Mario. So I'm waiting the whole night watching them step on the Koopa little guys, whatever, those brown little creatures. And I'm asking where the hell is Andre the Giant, and then they basically had to reveal that they're lying to me to get me to stop playing WrestleMania. I don't know. Super Mario and WrestleMania used to be the two main games on Nintendo that I had before I ended up getting. I stopped playing video games because if you beat your friends, they would take it so personally, and I would see an ugly side of my friends that it just turned me off from wanting to ever play fucking video games. And I actually think it discouraged me from ever trying because people would get mad if I would win at stuff. So by default, I would dumb myself down because I didn't want to piss people off. That's my whole life basically. But that started from video games because everyone would get. I just saw an ugly side. There's one guy I know that one time, and this is before going on the internet to play against people. He's playing against a computer. He lost against the computer. He took his PlayStation. He threw it on the road in the middle of the road in front of his house, and he lit it on fire. And I'm like, dude, I can't play with you. I can't play these games anymore. That's why I never liked video games for some odd reason. If that makes sense.
Oh, well, that's quite a story. I mean, I know people who were like that, who were, when they were losing, they would reach for the power button and just shut the game off. Oh, can't. We'll never know who would have won. Yeah, I never had a problem. My favorite games, of course, the wrestling games. I was big into WrestleMania for NES. I remember that one. Royal Rumble for Super Nintendo was a fun one.
Yeah. Did you get pissed off? Did you get jealous or pissed off that the Genesis version would have maybe two different characters, and you'd be like, well, I want to play that game now because they have they have they have Ludwig Borga or something like that, whatever.
Right. Yeah, that was real back in the day, man. The hatred between the two systems was super real back then. What else was I? Obviously the best wrestling game of all time. Any of the achy wrestling games for N64.
Those would never be touched. Those brought so much joy into my life, bro.
No Mercy, WrestleMania 2000, WCW, NWO World Tour. Amazing.
Exactly. But they're called, okay. So, I didn't want to waste too much of your time. You guys are talking about video games. I just thought I'd chime in with that. I know I'm probably the first one to bring it up, and I know maybe you want to be even keel. I understand that. But, dude, that TYT stuff to me this week, it really pissed me off because, listen, I know I haven't been the best person. I get vitriolic because I can see where the grift is going, and you guys have been more than fair. But I think, between attacking Lance and then shitting on Emma, who's like, to me, like, listen, I might not agree with her all the time, and I might not like agree with like everything she says, but she's probably one of the only people like who's like part of that crew that I thought, she actually sounds like she has morals, that she actually feels bad if she gets something wrong and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, Emma's a real one. She's the real deal. I think she what you get from her, from my experience working with her, she speaks from the heart. I mean, when we talk on the show, I don't know what, again, I don't know what people think. People might not think of this at all, but literally what we do is, and I could tell you from back when I worked at the Majority Report, we get there, we look at stories for the day. If Sam had his interview, he'd be preparing for that while we pulled sound clips and stuff. It's not like we had some big, maybe every now and then while reading a story, we would think of something funny or a funny point or a good point, and we just bring it up to remember for the show. But it's not like we were like meticulously planning everything out that you see on the show. What you saw, 99% of the stuff you see on Majority Report, in terms of like not the actual stories we're going to cover, but like our reactions and our analysis to them, like 90% of it, I would say, is on the spot from the heart. And that's how it is on Thursday too. I get an email on Thursdays with some of the sound clips that they've pulled. If we see any, we could send it over for them to pull. Otherwise, that's it. We get there and we speak about what we want at the moment and just speak out what we're thinking at the moment. I'm not saying it's different anywhere else. I don't know how it is anywhere else, but that's how we do it. And that's how this show is too. I mean, obviously I prepare, I got those tweets and the screenshots up, but I don't have like a script I was reading off of. I mean, I know the story. That's why I was covering it. It's like weird that you would go after someone like that who genuinely seemed to care about what you were doing. Like, I mean, even on the show, even on Leftist Mafia, when we criticized Anna,
you guys weren't being. I watched the episode. You guys weren't being. I thought, honestly, I was like, yo, fuck Anna. She's like obviously trying, but you guys give her the benefit of doubt. And okay, you guys.
I will say this. I'm not appreciating the people who are forgetting that I was the first person. I mean, I'm really probably the reason why this is happening. I was the first person to go to the rest of them, not Ole, but the rest of them who were talking, Lance, Dave, and Mike. I was the first person to go, enough. You guys are being too much with the she's a good person. I mean, you could believe that. I'm not saying she's not either, but we don't need to put these addendums before critiquing what she said. I don't know anyone else who we give this sort of luxury to talk about how great they are before criticizing what they said. And to be quite frank, my position is I wasn't critiquing what she said because I care about Anna or Jenk or TYT or any of them. I'm not saying that to be mean to them either. I was not criticizing them because I cared about them. I was criticizing what Anna said because it affected an audience that I have that means something to me because I know how they're treated by everybody else. I did not appreciate how the trans people who were hurt by Anna Kay's comments were feeling and how they were being disrespected or how they were felt disrespected. That's why I said something. It wasn't because I cared enough about Anna or Jenk or anyone, and that goes as far to anyone else. If Sam Cedar or Emma or anyone I have a history with said something I disagreed with, my reason for critiquing them wouldn't be a personal attack on them or any reason. It would be because I disagree with what they said because of how I feel about it or how it affected other people. I mean, that's that simple. Like, the idea that they're making this about themselves is, quite frankly, very selfish because it's not about them. It's not about them.
And okay, so this is what happened on the show. This is what I can tell Anna was baiting Ole, because a couple of days ago, I still watch I like watching the live thing, whatever. I want to see what they're like, how they're making their pivot. So she mentions an Amazon story, and then in the middle of these stories, she starts just taking shots at the left. And she
Yeah,
goes,
I saw that. I mean,
But
go ahead.
I'll just finish quickly. What's it called? Then I guess Ole didn't respond to that. And I think she was trying to bait her in. So then Ole put out something separate about Angel Reese. And then Anna goes, oh, like haters that want to cook you. And then she had that clip ready. And then they go on their show, and the people that are not familiar with the Twitter beefs and all that kind of stuff, that are wondering what's going on, they make it seem like, oh no, these people punched me first, and I'm going to punch back. I'm not going to back. It's like you're subtly making threats while you're the one that did the whole thing. And dude, this is one of the most obvious pivots of people. I've seen it. I always believe that cancel culture has been a right-wing psyop, so people can justify, putting on an NWO shirt and playing air guitar with Hulk Hogan with this world title. You know what I mean? I always kind of believe that. It's becoming more and more transparent. And like just from the grift that I've seen, in my personal opinion, I've seen them go more to the right in that sense. So I just thought, what's it called? Out of all the people that you can attack, you attack Emma, you attack Ole, and these people seem like nice people. I might not agree with everything they say, but I just thought that's so lowbrow. And then to act like you're the one who's the victim, and you're like, oh, I don't want any of these squabbles. I don't want any more leftists on my show. When you're the one, Ole even said on Twitter that Anna reached out to her to come on the show when she was making an ass out of herself for the fucking prison abolition topic. So like she paints herself as the victim when they're the ones that started this whole thing, and I don't feel sorry for them whatsoever. They can play the victims all they want, and I'll let you respond. But I'll say maybe one more thing before I have to go. But I'll let you respond quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly don't care so much about this drama in Saga. What I care about is what she said and other things that she said that I disagree with. I have no problem with Anna the person or Jenk the person. Like, here's one thing that's really bothered me over the years, actually. I have no affiliation with TYT. But people, for some reason, have thought I did think I do because of my history with the Majority Report. The Majority Report's affiliation with TYT was that our YouTube channel was part, I don't even know if it still is because I'm not involved with that anymore. I haven't been involved with that part of it since 2015. So I don't know if they still are or aren't. But when I was there, our YouTube channel only was part of the TYT network because TYT had one of those multi-channel networks with YouTube, which basically means, TYT is able to like help with like copyright disputes and stuff like that with your channel because they have a direct line to YouTube, little things like that. I would get on a call every now and then with their lead of like social media distribution, and he would give us some tips on how to like best YouTube practices and stuff. But they had nothing to do with our content. They had nothing to do with anything but the YouTube channel and providing some tips and a direct line to YouTube. That's it. But me personally, I've had no affiliation with TYT ever. I've never received a dime from TYT. People think I have. For some people have said I work for TYT. I don't know where that comes from. I've never even been on a TYT show. I have never been invited to a TYT show. If they invite me, I'd go on. If they continue not to, that's fine too. It works either way. It doesn't really matter to me. I'd be happy to do it. Doesn't affect me much to not do it either. But I'm the only person on that show who Leftist Mafia apparently who did not go on TYT. Maybe that's why I felt more open to do that, to say something at first. But this all started because basically we had to address the comments she made publicly on Twitter. We had to do it. We owed it to our audience to do so. And I heard how some of my co-hosts were touching it, and I disagreed. And Ole agreed with me, and she went on herself and went on even further, I guess you can say. None of it was a direct attack on Anna. It was all a critique of what she said. I don't know what else happened because I don't pay attention to this stuff. I got better things to do, quite frankly.
I don't blame you.
From what I've seen, they've gone balls to the walls attacking specific people. I can confirm that Anna Kasparian was apparently following me on Twitter, because I remembered she did, because of the Jimmy Dore expose I did, where I found that Jimmy Dore was doing a burner account, if you all remember that. She followed me from that, I believe, but she was following me. And after she found that leftist mafia thing, she unfollowed me. Boo-hoo, whatever. What can you do about it?
Okay, and listen, I don't want. I know you got other callers, but I'll just say this. The reason why, like, I take, like, so, okay, listen, I pointed out before, I've been very ignorant in my past, and even when I was pro-trans, like, a couple of years ago, I was even falling because I was listening to the wrong people, like Joe Rogan and all that kind of stuff, or Jimmy Dore or whatever and all that. So I was actually falling for the whole, child mutilation thing, and I'd be like, well, I'm for trans rights, but I don't really agree with that, and people being okay with that. See, and I just think if this were a couple of years ago and this was happening, and Anna did the whole birthing person thing, I would have been, because I listened to their show, I would have been buying in to their propaganda and how they're sophisticating it. So whenever I see somebody sophisticating propaganda, in my personal opinion, of mentioning this stuff, and I've woken up, thankfully, from, not going further to the right, even though people have tried to get me to go further to the right with some talking points, I get triggered by it, and I tend to have a really hostile opinion because, quite frankly, I did respect them. They did give some good insight in progressive movements and all that. I'm not going to take that away from them. But at the same time, I'm also allowed to, like, not like the rhetoric that's being put on, like, you know what I mean, like they have more anger for people. Listen, I'm not saying that people should go attack this who's this NCAA swimmer chick who's now become the poster woman of women athletes and anti-trans stuff. They're, like, more outraged that people feel triggered by the rhetoric, and then they're condemning them way more than they're condemning the normalized shit. Like, Tucker Carlson every day is telling you that trans people are the most dangerous people on the fucking planet, and this is borderline Nazi level stuff. And thankfully, a couple of years ago, I fully saw it for what it is. And
here's the thing, and this is the last thing I'll say on this call, because I'm sure I'm going to talk about it on the Leftist Mafia tomorrow. It's probably going to take up way more time than it should, but it's inevitable. It's what happens. That's the deal here. Their response, both Cenk and mostly Cenk, I'll be honest, but Anna's done this too. Their response has been that it's like lefties, like the most leftist people are like, oh, I'm more holier than thou, and Cenk did the whole voice and specifically by name mocked Lance of the Serfs in the way I was just doing, like with the mock face and everything and the accent, like the holier than thou or whatever. And they were mocking like sort of like progressive like language and stuff like that, trying to act like they're tough guys, like old school, like we connect with the real people or whatever. What Anna was essentially whining about in that tweet that got her criticized was a fucking microaggression. Someone in her personal life, apparently, I don't know, maybe at a doctor's office, a clinic, I don't know, somebody said to her, called her, or referenced to her as a birthing person, or a person with a uterus, or whatever the term is that bothers her, instead of calling her a woman. That's baby shit. I'm sorry. You know how many times when I was younger, like, when frankly this should have bothered a young teenage, I always had long hair, didn't have the beard. I hung out with, I hung out with a lot of people, but sometimes I just hung out with girls because that's who my friends were. And we would go out and someone would come up and say, hey, ladies, because they'd see my long hair. Imagine I whined about that shit instead of just brushing it off as no fucking big deal, because who cares? Who cares?
Dude, you're 100% right. And listen, bro, I'm sorry for taking.
It's this is like the college bullshit that they criticize. Like, people want, and this, when it happens on a college, I don't care. Let college kids be college kids. But this is not that. This is someone with a huge audience. Like, it's a microaggression at best if what she's talking about happened to her. And just tell the person, can you please call me what I prefer to be called? And that's that. There was no reason to turn it into anti-trans rhetoric. If you meant it that way or not, it does not matter. It's what it was, and it's how your trans listeners and viewers took it, and it hurt them. So either you just own up to it and say, I made a mistake, or you don't, but that just shows you don't care about your trans viewers. Because, it is what it is. And that's frankly all I guess I really have to say about it tonight.
Okay, that's cool. Matt, I always enjoy talking with you, man, and I always enjoy expressing how my ignorant views were in the past, because I like at least if there's someone out there who's dumbed down as well and they're buying into some of this rhetoric, hopefully you can wake up from all of it. But listen, next time I'll call in with more wrestling talk, whatever, or something like that to lighten the mood. But I appreciate you always taking my call, man. I enjoy talking to you whenever I can. I feel like an asshole always trying to call in, but I love talking to you, man. You're one of my favorite people to talk to about politics and stuff like that, because you're not an asshole, so
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Peace out, brother.
I am an asshole, but not to you guys.
We're all assholes, but who's counting though, man? Peace out, brother.
Always a pleasure. Listen, it's just I know everybody's different, but come on. What are you doing here? If you're doing this maybe it's just the type of stuff I was reporting on and working in, and I've sort of desensitized myself to all of it just from the years of me doing this stuff. But they've been doing it for years too. But there is nothing you can call me that will bother me. Really. It's just not that big of a deal. You could come at me with whatever you'd like. You could call me a baby, a pussy, a piece of shit. Say I look like a girl. Say I look like a feminine guy. Whatever. Call me literally say I'm say whatever you'd like. The most sexist or whatever you want to call me. I don't care. Who cares? Grow up. If so, I don't care. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, let me just move my camera. Hey, it's Zach from Philly. How are you?
Hey, Zach. Can I put you up on the feed?
Yeah, go for it.
Hey, Zach. So, is this your first time calling?
No, I called a couple months ago to talk about. It was before Israel went full. Before the mask completely fell off.
Oh, right. I think I remember now. Right. So, what would you like to talk about today?
I would like to tell you about. I have found in my travels and my work as an asbestos investigator and building inspector, I have found the split ticket voter in this country.
Really? Wait, was it split their ticket for what?
Therefore, it was for the midterms, a split ticket in the midterms. So just a little bit of background on what I do is I do a lot of work with the school district. When, they're digging asbestos out, I do air monitoring, I do monitoring of lead abatement, all that kind of stuff. So I work a lot with union guys and tradesmen in the city. And so this was right around I think maybe in October. I was was before everyone started working. They were waiting for stuff. I'm in there with the supervisor of the electricians, the steam fitter supervisor, and the guy. They're called building engineers, the head custodians in the in the school district. And they're all sitting there. They're all three old white guys, all just kind of talking shit, talking smack. And then politics comes up, and they start talking about the election and who to vote for. And again, I'm sitting there quietly. I don't want to, last thing I want to do.
I'm sorry if you said it, but just run it by me. Yeah. This is before the midterms, or they're talking after the midterms?
Yeah, this is in October.
Okay.
And what I don't want to do is, stir the pot and and just, throw a bomb in the middle of their conversation, right? I was just kind of there waiting for work to get started. And they start talking about who they're going to vote for. And one of the guys said, well, listen, I don't care who you vote for the Senate. That doesn't matter. Who cares? They're the same. It's not going to matter. It doesn't impact us. What matters is the governor. You have to vote for Wolf because he's the I'm sorry, not Wolf, for Shapiro, because he's the only one that'll protect the unions, and he's a union guy. The same, and he's like, that's why I voted for Wolf before when I voted for Trump. And I kind of sat there and I'm like, huh. And again, I'm not saying, I'm just kind of thinking this to myself that like this is what because I know that sometimes I think it's like we overlook that, it's yes, did Biden not talk about whatever, like he ran against Trump, not the Republicans, all that stuff, but like there's a messaging thing out here that I think we kind of it misses when things are most like decoupled national and like more local politics, that we don't have, it's people are so worried about like these guys could easily be, vote like straight ticket Dem, right? That's easy. But if they don't see that the national party has as much of an impact as the state parties do, right? I think that there's something missing there. Maybe that's a failure on the Democrats. Like that I can't tie those two
I will say Josh Shapiro run a really, really good campaign.
Yeah, well, I mean,
it also helped that he had an atrocious opponent.
Yeah.
We talked about him on this show in length. I had a whole episode about him.
I gotta go back and see that.
Yeah.
I only know bits and pieces about old Dougie.
Right. It is. Yeah, but he ran a fantastic campaign. There's absolutely a break with the National Party and how some even specific campaigns. That's why I say I'm. Listen, do I vote Democrat? Yes. But do I vote Democratic Party? No. It just so happens that the politicians I like, who run good campaigns and share my values, are Democrats.
Right.
I don't vote for the Democratic Party. I vote for the politicians I like, who just happen to run as Democrats. I mean, we're in a two-party system. They're going to be either Democrats or Republicans. It's just how it is. I don't support the party. I support specific candidates who share my values, and they just all happen to be Democrats.
Right.
I think there's a lot to be learned from the National Party. A lot to be learned for the National Party, I should say. Also, maybe a lot to be learned from them as well as what not to do. But I mean, the problem is they're still in this, and they'll always be, that they got to be thinking this base voter that doesn't exist is out there.
Right.
This soccer mom, this working upper middle class dad, nuclear family, just trying to get by, and they're just suffering, but they can't. The Democrats are gonna take it too far by letting the gays get married, or by not blocking trans kids from existing. It's just too much for them to handle. I mean, bullshit. Just they don't exist. These people don't exist. And if they do exist, they're Republicans.
It was one thing I just couldn't wrap my head around is that when people would talk about like split tickets, I'm like why, like what do you not, like what are you not getting, right? Like how do you, like where is that disconnect? And I think kind of seeing it in real life is that they just don't care, and it's so like whoever, like yeah, like you think okay, Trump's what, he's gonna do something probably against immigration that matters more to you versus whatever myth they think it is. But I think the other thing that I can't also wrap my head around is what happens, post-Trump, right? I think that there is and I'm not saying he's over, right? I'm not one of those guys, which is also a sidebar that really, really, really has annoyed me, are all the DeSantis people who like were preaching, singing that he's the new face. They were talking about that, 3-4 months ago. And now all of a sudden they're like calling it like, oh no, Trump was never gone. Like those people are really annoying. Like, hey man, just admit you were wrong the whole time. But that's a sidebar. Like, I wonder what happens, in the next, let's say 4 years, right? Because this man, he can't run forever, right? He physically can't be around forever. What happens to his movement, right? You think it just kind of goes away with him and like the party kind of conveniently forgets everything and goes back? Or you think this is something that will be here forever?
I think it's here for the long term. I do. Forever, I don't know, but this is the reality that we're facing for the foreseeable future.
So like you're like, this is gonna be, the way that the annoying libertarian in my high school class would talk about Reagan. In my son's high school class, they're gonna talk about fucking Trump. Is that what we're talking about here?
Yeah. It's not going anywhere. Right.
Okay. All right. Cool. Well, that's I've been chewing on that for like months now, so I'm glad I was able to get it out of my body. You have a great night. You're in New York, right? It's probably as late as for you as it is for me.
Yeah, same time. I'm in New York. Yep, same time.
All right.
No, great call. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, we're. I don't. 2016 was sort of a big shift in the political discourse and rhetoric. I think it's going to be here for a while. This is what we got to deal with now. It's almost amazing how like the Obama years are just, you could just throw them in the trash in terms of their long term. I'm not criticizing Obama for any of you Obama fans out there, but I'm talking about literally like the issues of the Obama years are just gone. Nothing held. It's just, even policy wise, other than the ACA. What do you got from the Obama years? It is what it is.
When was the last time you talked about the Iran deal? You're right. I haven't heard about that.
Well, it's done. There's no Iran deal.
Well, I remember there were always this talk about, they're going to come back, they're going to re-enter, like all of that stuff, like right when old Joey B started, and now it's all gone there. That's actually a really good point about how all that stuff came and went.
I mean, everything that happened from 2008 to 2016 is just it's completely pointless in our current. It just doesn't even think. Literally, go back to like. I mean, even the Democratic Party is different. Obama was trying to cut a deal with the Republicans to cut Social Security.
Oh, it was Obama. The man could do no wrong. But
Joe Biden's not going to do that.
No, you know what? I gotta say, I would not be surprised if there are conversations that were or are being had trying to find like a way to split this baby, right? I know like Joe Biden wouldn't do it, but whoever this new chief of staff is, I think you guys were talking about it at MR before, like all this weird push to the center has this guy's fingerprints on it, right? All this stuff he's doing, like leaning away from the former chief of staff who seemed to be more nominally progressive, right? And then after, it was like Ron, whatever his name is, it escapes me now. But like, it seems to be that where I wouldn't be surprised if like once it's only April. So like once it starts kicking back up again, I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing more things about raising retirement age or stuff like that, right? Some of those I don't know what the thing going on in France, I'm not entirely sure. But like some of those like not overt cuts, right? That wouldn't surprise me if those are some of the things being like kicked around, like a leak comes out or two about these conversations. Because that's something they do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Great call. We'll have to pick it up. I want to try to grab one or two more people before I shut off. So.
Oh my God! Of course.
Absolutely. A pleasure to talk. Please call back in. This was great.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. I see a lot of people who I've not seen before trying to call in. So I want to take a few more first-time callers if possible. Let's see. Oh. I keep trying to grab people and it hangs up. All right, let's take this. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello.
Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Ryan from Ontario. How are you, Matt?
Hey, Ryan from Ontario. I'm doing good. How are you? And what would you like to talk about?
I'm doing all right. Tell me if my microphone got worse or better. Yeah, I wanted to compliment you for your Anna stuff. That was very good for calling her out. I definitely appreciated that.
Oh, I mean, listen, it's not really not so much calling her out. It was just addressing what she said. I think it was worth addressing. Like, would I have done it if it was somebody else who doesn't have the platform she has? I mean, quite frankly, what she said is no different than the other, straight up turfs that we hear on Twitter day in and day out saying this shit.
For sure. One of the things that annoyed me about what Lance and some of the other people on the panel who are not making excuses but trying to like almost downplay it is that her doing all of that past trans activism makes it worse, not better.
Right. And listen, like, we know her work. Like, we don't have to say, like, that's why it bothers us more too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Like, we know that she's better than that. And then she went ahead and did that. Which, I mean, again, she has a right, like she said, she has a right to do that, but we also have the right to criticize her, what she said.
Exactly.
And again, I don't know her. She could be a great person. I'm sure she is. In real life, like if you know her personally, but I don't know her personally. And even if I did, great people can say some pretty shitty things and deserve to be called out for it. And how they react to that usually tells you just exactly how great of a person they actually really are. I mean, honestly, I've been called out for shit before. I've fucked up. I've said on this show, and no one even called me out for it. I felt bad about doing it. That for a while, just because I would this was maybe a couple of years ago now. Well, it's for sure a couple of years ago back. Gee, I don't even know how many years ago, but I would normally just say in real life to everybody, like, "Oh, hey, dude, guy or girl," with my friends or whatever. Just like, "Hey, dude, like that," when someone would say something to me. And there were a few times where I said that to trans people that I was friendly with just without thinking. And no one ever said anything to me about it. But every time I accidentally did that, afterwards, I fucking would know I did it and would feel horrible about it. And I made it a point to try not to do it. I've not done it since. I hope I continue. Could I fuck up again? But perhaps. But I mean, I know it's wrong, and I fucking hate that I did it, and I fucking made an effort to stop doing it.
Giving people the opportunity to learn and grow is like one of the most important things that we can do. But like, at least partly we've seen them not do that, which is unfortunate.
Right. Like everyone's gonna fuck up with something.
Exactly.
Everyone's
I
gonna.
don't want to talk about this for too long though, because I'm sure you're going to talk about it a bunch tomorrow, and then I'll listen in then. I wanted to actually talk about crypto for a second.
Ooh, all right, now, okay, you're gonna get me down a rabbit hole here, but let's do it.
Okay, so I don't know if you know anything about esports at all. I play a lot of Smash and watch a lot of different esports centric games. I used to be really big into League of Legends when I was like in high school, like 2015 to 2018 kind of era of the professional League of Legends scene, and it was very exciting. But now basically all of the old guard of the teams are kind of like collapsing. And the main reason is because they were all like funded by like FTX and that kind of, and like all these other crypto like ventures that can't afford to fund any of these events or teams anymore.
I remember that. Like League of Legends was Sam Bankman-Fried's favorite game.
Yes.
He famously would play it while doing interviews and on like major like company calls and stuff. He'd be playing
he was very bad at the game, I heard.
Right.
Which is the funny part. But anyways, so like TSM was probably the main team that was like integrated with FTX. But one thing that I worry about right now is that Super Smash Brothers, right? Super Smash Brothers. It's like it's a children's fighting game for the Nintendo Switch. You probably played it before, considering you have a Switch. And
yeah. Oh, I mean, what game did you say again? Which one specifically?
Super Smash Brothers Ultimate is like the
I haven't played the new one, but I have played. I mean, from even before my kids were born, Smash Brothers, Super Smash Brothers. That was a game back when I was
the GameCube one is considered like the best fighting game of all time. But basically all of the events right now, like the most popular event for both Melee, which is like the 20-year-old GameCube game, which I prefer, and Ultimate, which is the newer game for Nintendo Switch, both of them are like mainly sponsored by Coinbase. Like the biggest weekly that like they have donated, I guess, like $150,000 to the pot in like per year in the last 2 years for like a weekly. It's like $3,000 a week. And I don't know, it's really just shitty how like this has like it's just advertised to children is what it is. It's really sad. The thing that bothered me today about it is like there were like rich people that were like just like individual rich people who wanted to donate to the pools of the individual weekly events just because it's like more exciting when the pool is higher, right? For any sort of competition, I guess. Like today, the organizer of the event was like promoting a way to donate to the prize pool via crypto, which is like really shitty. The vast majority of people who are watching this game are children, so it's just really weird to ask children or whatever to donate to the prize pool and weird. It's just uncomfortable. Is having crypto in the scene like this, and the fact that all of these esports teams are going down and they all had big contracts with crypto companies, I think is very, very telling.
I'm just an old man in this sense too. Like I don't get watching people play. My son loves watching this specific YouTube video game streamer, Zach Scott. He's been a fan of his for a very long time. I don't get it. I mean, I do get it. I used to watching my friends or my cousins play video games when I was with them. But that's a different experience, I think, when you're hanging out with someone playing a game. I don't get the whole video game watching thing. I guess that's just me being out of touch with the youth of today. But yeah, I agree that if, especially if it's a game like Super Smash Brothers, which, again, it's an all ages game, but come on, let's be honest. The characters in there are clearly speaking to a very specific demographic as well. Probably
the professional players skew very young. Like, we'll put it that way. Like, especially for Ultimate. For Melee, it's like mostly people in their 20s and stuff like that. But for Ultimate, it's like there's a lot of players who are like 15 to 20. Like a solid 20% of the player base is probably in that age.
Yeah,
at the top level, and that means that way more children are playing it at the lower level because you're not going to be that good as a kid.
I mean, you want to do cash prizes? I don't see a problem with that. You want to do like weird, like you were saying, like investing weird shit and gambling and that's
it's the thing that they were doing is to like increase the size of the prize pool for the event essentially via crypto. But like Coinbase already donates $3,000 to the prize pool every single week. Right, so like it's so weird to ask the fans to donate even more than that.
Yeah, that is weird. I mean, just if you're a fan, why not just donate directly to your favorite streamer?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and to the point before about like why do people watch it? It's mostly the parasocial thing. Well, especially for like people who are not playing competitive games at a very, very high level. Like, I'm sure that your son is not watching like the #1 pro Fortnite streamer or whatever he's watching. Or...
No, the guy he watches is pretty big video game streamer, but he's just, as far as I know, he's just does it for YouTube. He does not do anything.
Yeah. So like
he basically plays completely through a game, like and completes everything. Like that's his whole deal.
Oh, okay. Well, that's cool.
He's got over 5 million. He's got over 5 million subscribers. So
damn.
Zach Scott Games. He does a lot of Plants vs Zombies. That's what I think he became known for. He does a lot of Plants vs Zombies playing. My son likes watching him do Mario, Zelda. He also started playing Resident Evil, but my son's not allowed. My son's not allowed to watch that. That I guess he does for his older audience. But he makes it. The reason we let him watch that one is because he makes it a priority to not curse. It's a very family
friendly.
friended. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
He knows what he's doing in terms of that. So we respect that. So we let my son watch that one.
Yeah, I would say I played Resident Evil probably when I was like 11 or 12, and it was a little bit traumatizing. But Resident Evil 4 is an amazing game. Maybe
My son's only 7. My son's only 7.
He's only 7. Yeah,
Yeah.
keep it away. He's gonna be having nightmares for fucking years if
Yeah,
you
I
show
mean
him that.
he's really good at Fortnite. We let him do Fortnite because it's fairly cartoonish. There's guns, but there's no blood. So that's fine.
I do want to mention one more thing before I go. People keep asking you guys to have Beau of the Fifth Column onto your Leftist Mafia, which I'm enjoying.
Oh, yeah,
as a longtime Binder fan. He is
I know who
actually
he
a
is.
convicted trafficker.
Oh, I didn't know that actually. Okay.
He is a convicted human trafficker. And Lance from the Surfs defends him for some reason. I don't quite understand. He was trafficking Eastern European women into the southern United States to work inside of hotels.
Wait,
so
what?
If that,
How did you know about that? Wait, where'd you get this?
There's a whole sort of drama that I found out about recently between like a guy named Bad Empanada and Lance and Beau about this whole situation. But there are court records. His real name is Justin King or something like that. I'm not gonna look it up right now. I could send you stuff on it. It's pretty bad. I would say don't have that guy on the show. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, I'm not saying like, oh, don't be mad at Lance or whatever. Maybe Lance misunderstands the situation. I don't really know. But just like don't have a human trafficker on the show that's convicted. That's like really messed up.
I just knew who he was by name. I've never watched a video of his. I don't watch videos from anyone. I want people to understand that.
I didn't know about this guy until
I am divorced from the YouTube world of it's not my. I know more Twitter names than anyone who's known for YouTube.
Bless you for that.
I don't know about that either, but I just know him because he's one of the big names in progressive YouTube channels. So I had no idea. Wow, I got to look into this.
Yep. It's one of the weirdest situations that I've. Why do you don't traffic Eastern European women into Florida to work in hotels? That's not like I'm helping immigrants sort of thing. You know what I mean?
I thought that's what you were meant to tell me when you said. I thought you were meant to tell me how he was like, he got convicted, but he was like helping people cross over the border. And
that's what like it was made out to be on Lance's stream. But if you look at the charges, it's all Eastern European women, like from the former Soviet states. It doesn't make any fucking sense. It's very strange. I would recommend looking into the court documents. You're going to understand it much more than I will. But like, yeah, it's very. Just don't have the guy on the show. I think that's like a very simple ask. But yeah.
All right, I gotta look into it. I can't say anything without knowing, so I gotta just look into it.
All right.
But thanks for the call. Appreciate it.
Always love your show, Matt. You have a good one.
All right, take care. Let's go. Oh boy, what time is it? It's 12:30 already. Jeez. All right, let me take one more call. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Mike from West Hollywood. How you doing, Matt?
Hey, Mike. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. How do I sound? Okay?
Good. Yep. What would you like to talk about?
Okay. Two things. One, you brought up you seem to have trouble getting people dropping calls, and I think that's a Skype thing. There's only so many rings that'll let it go.
Yeah, I think that's the issue, but it just so happens that just when I'm about to hit their thing, that's when it usually drops them.
Yeah, I noticed you mentioned it several times, and I know it's called when I try to call in, it'll discontinue.
Right. The problem is that Skype is so easy to use with the program I use to stream. It's like integrated into it, and also I actually do think, and I know people always shocked to hear this because Microsoft has completely forgotten all about Skype. It actually, I think, has the best audio quality of any of these streaming call apps. Actually.
Yeah. No, I wasn't knocking it. I was just giving you some clarification.
Yep. Thank you.
I'm calling about the idea of podcasters and local coverage.
Sure.
California in particular, it comes to mind, but also New York. The whole thing with Kathy Hochul out there and the whole judge appointments and the Andrew Cuomoizing of state politics in New York. These are huge stories in New York and California because they didn't go blue like they should have,
right.
Or the reason why we got to put up with dumbasses like Jim Jordan running committees and MTG and all that crap. And my point, I guess, is that there's a lot of room, it seems like, for local news in the podcasting realm. And I'm just wondering, is there anything out there that's directing this kind of information and traffic? These are the good local podcasters who are doing good local news on Little Rock, Arkansas, or Denver, Colorado, or it's such a hole.
Right. No, I agree. No, that's a great point. More needs to be done on a local level in terms of absolutely with local reporting. It's local reporting is harder, obviously. Requires much more much more work for less. You're automatically getting less of an audience, smaller advertiser base, smaller subscriber base. That's why local news has had such a hard go of the internet era. But absolutely agree with you. They do, though, probably have the biggest effect on their readership, though. People are more likely to trust local news reporting than anything else.
Well, like in California, LA, one of the oldest channel stations in the city got bought out by one of these, uber conservative billionaire types. I forget who he is. He's like got a work going, but they're buying up these local stations, and they are doing it to infiltrate the news media and the news content, and you can see it clearly. And I'm just wondering, it seems like there's a real need for some type of local media progressive directory, where it's like, you know what I mean?
Right. I do know that. Have you heard of Opt Out? They are a newsletter / app that it's not just obviously local, but they're trying to create like a directory of like progressive media, like left-wing media, and I'm sure there are some local outlets there. Let me see if I could pull it up really quick on the fly to see. Let's see.
Oh, and I hope this little beef with TYT doesn't spill over in you and Ravana's relationship or interactions. I really liked it when you had her on the podcast. She was fantastic.
Oh yeah, Ravana is great. I mean, I don't have I mean, they're the ones who wanted to make it a personal thing, so it'd be on their end if anything. And I mean, if they made, I mean, I don't even understand what Ravana's relationship with them is, honestly. I don't understand any of those small streamers. I don't mean to call Ravana a small streamer. I'm a small streamer. Ravana probably has a bigger audience than me. I just mean in the aggregate compared to Anna and Jenk, I don't get because again, I don't watch any of this stuff. I don't get how Ravana's stream is connected to TYT.
Well, they pick her up to go do stuff on their affiliate streams. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I forget the name of all.
So I mean, I'm at worst, maybe I haven't gone on any TYT affiliate stream to begin with. So at worst, what are they going to tell her, to not let me on her personal stream? I mean,
and also if you get a chance to get a hold of Jessica Burbank, she's another one of those. I found her first on TikTok, and then they picked her up on TYT as part of their affiliates, and she's got great economics reporting, and she's really got great charisma too.
Jessica Burbank, you said?
Yeah.
I think I might have come across her. Maybe? I don't know. Oh, wait, yes. Jessica L. Burbank?
Yeah, I think that's
I've
it.
come across her work. More so with More Perfect Union. In fact, looks like she's taken TYT out of her bio.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay. I was wondering why they're not featuring her as much.
Oh wait, no, she has the watch list there. So she just changed. It used to say TYT in her bio. Now it says just the show that she's on.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So opt out is just a app.
Okay.
So if you go to the the iOS App Store, search opt out. They have there's some local here too. I'm looking. The Arizona Mirror is here. Again, some of these are bigger too, but Michigan Advance, but some of these are smaller too. Colorado Newsline.
It became apparent when I was watching MR Majority Report, especially when Nomiki Counts was having her little beef with that. When
I don't even know what happened. I don't even know what happened to Nomiki. As far as I know, she's disappeared off the face of the planet. I have no idea. I haven't heard anything from her.
There was some disagreement apparently, but just my point was that there's a real vacuum. It seems like for there's a real vacuum on MR for local New York reporting, and I was kind of surprised. I thought, wow, I thought Sam and all the gang would have a better hand, but they seem like they're uber focused on the nationwide agenda. And but when I first got an inkling, like, God, we really need some good local progressive media.
Right. No, absolutely. It's the hardest thing to do though, but yeah, I agree. Maybe the best way to do it is for some of these bigger outlets to, make a concerted effort to actually do at least some, focused local news reporting every now and then.
Yeah, I agree. Something. Yeah, because I was just seeing how when the coverage for California is coming, I mean, it looks like we're pretty basically we're going to end up between Adam Schiff and Katie Porter in the general election. Those two will be the candidates on the general ballot here in California because we have the open primary system. And you can see the Republicans are already trying to force one of their guys into the conversation, and they're going to get behind him to try and get him enough votes so he can at least get out there and get onto the general election. But it's probably not going to happen.
Right.
And so you're going to have California about defining what is the Democratic Party going to stand for.
Right.
And so that kind of coverage, I think, would be invaluable for just a larger debate.
No, I agree. All right, let's. What time is it? I appreciate the call. Definitely call back in. I agree with your premise about local news. Absolutely, and look forward to talking. Thanks for calling in.
All right, Matt. You have a great one. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow on DMR.
All right, cool. See you then.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, folks. So many people trying to call in, but let's call it a night. Let's call it a night, I think. Let's call it a night. Hey, Omega, really quick. You got 2 minutes. What do you have to talk about? I felt bad. Go ahead. You guilted me into picking up.
Yeah, it's not going to be too quick, and it's a tad loud here because the bus just stopped by me, so give me a moment.
Oh, come on. Hurry up. Go.
All right. No, I was going to point out the fact that it's like I'm still miffed about this whole Anna and Cenk thing or whatever. I couldn't even believe, well, not that I can't believe it, just that it's like they've kind of been on a roll with like some of these bad bad takes and whatnot regarding
it sucks because I don't. It sucks because I get why people want to talk about this. I feel like obviously we got to talk about it in some sense. I hate talking about it. But yeah, you know what I mean? Like it's just like I don't.
Yeah, for people like or our general age range, and like people like because somebody mentioned Ravana, like that was a lot of people's gateway to leftism in the first place, to understand that, hey, I mean, you can watch CNN, but you're not going to get the full picture with that, and there's still going to be a lot of that stuff. And to this day, I still, like, some people I work kind of like, somebody brought up the Bud Light thing earlier to me and was like saying, well, this, that, or the other thing. It's like, well, that's not a good news source. That they're just like pointing out one like specific subset, but that's not here. The point is, I personally like, because they know what the deal is with a lot of things, and then just certain little aspects of it, they completely miss the point. It's like, hey, you're
Frankly,
not supposed to
I mean, yeah, I'm speaking real with you guys here because, it's just who I am. They're honestly still doing a show as if it's 2008. They are, frankly, a little bit out of touch. I'm talking about the main show. I'm not talking about any of the other side shows or side hosts. I know nothing about.
Because everybody else is not on board with like most of that stuff. Like a lot of them definitely disagree with like the aspect of the aspect regarding the prison stuff about just throwing like people in jail, whatever, and all that stuff like that, and then thinking that like, oh, the extreme left only doesn't want them to be put in jail. There are people on Twitter who say that, but it's like that's not a lot of the people that are very much like to the left of them even. It's like that's not everybody. And like the situation about the birthing person stuff is like, okay, my wife, I even talked to my wife about it. It's like she doesn't mind being called somebody capable of being able to give birth. Hell, you could not even have to say, I know the language is clunky as hell. I mean, it's not graceful. I understand that completely. But for the sake of people, like if they were just saying, oh, people's family planning or maternity care and stuff like that, you don't even have to just say women all the time. Because ever since the first time they talked about that term, like months ago, like it triggered a lot of people and they left the stream, and it's like rightfully so. And it's like you can literally just say people, because literally everybody else is already kind of adjusted to that situation. They don't have like such a gripe with the terminology, even if it's clunky. And it's like, but people are just, everyone else on the network is kind of working with that. And it's like I know they've and I know how it personally affects, like, say, someone like yourself, because you've had people on that apply to those subsets of like people in the LGBTQ community. It's like people that are trans men or non-binary people. It's like you've had people on like that, and like so you feel closer because of that situation, and like, and I'm glad that like you catch the message regarding that. It's just like I wish like, because I think because it's the two of them and they're kind of around each other, and they rub off on each other that kind of way. That's what gets them to be like kind of a little bit stubborn in some ways. And it's like sometimes it's good because then they're more vociferous and fighting, against a lot of nonsense. And then there's other cases where it's like they don't budge on certain other things. It's like, hey, maybe just try to understand this and this aspect of it or whatever. Because in those two cases, they're very close and there's just a one little % there. But it always starts with like, in terms of the birthing person situation, it always starts with like a verbal thing, and then it stems out into policy, then it stems out into actual physical violence. Like it branches off into bad territory. And same thing with the prison reform thing, like thinking that like, oh, all this other stuff, you can't just throw people. It's like, well, I mean, they understand the Nordic model, that the model that works for other people and this should work here, but it's like then they still go back to that talking point. It's like, because they won't let that part go. And it's like, you gotta just like understand, like that's not what people like or people want. And it's like there's a lot of people that just gotta get with that stuff and just understand that, hey, it's not like that anymore. We do have to kind of understand that there's this angle or this like little piece of the puzzle there that you're like constantly missing there, and you need to get it, because otherwise you're gonna keep like losing like. And then people are going to like think of them as like almost Jimmy Dore-ish in some ways. And I don't want that to happen, because like I fucking love them. I'm sub to them on Twitch all the fucking time, because that's for the majority of the shows I like are on. And, I try to, and hell, at work I watch most of it all day anyways. But it's like, hey, just like understand that these people here are important too. You lose them enough, you're eventually going to lose a lot of other people that are going to be like, oh, they don't even see those people kind of like as a thing or whatever. Why am I going to listen?
Right.
You know?
Yeah. No, I hear
you.
you.
Yeah, you gotta see that factor in all these things. There's always like the little factors that could still like lead to other things. It's like you gotta just keep an eye on it. I've heard the Nazi bar talking point regarding that, and that's a valid one in this case too. It's like you can't just let the one thing kind of pass through. Like Lance mentioned that actually earlier today. It's like you can't let that one thing pass through and you not catch and be like, wait, that's not okay. You got to be a bit more on it. But I think I feel like with time and maybe cooler heads, and I think also some of the younger hosts and whatnot will probably maybe communicate with them like, hey, this or that or the other thing. And people like Emma, who's had direct experience with them, because like,
Emma tried to do that. Emma tried to do that. Emma tried to do that.
Yeah, I could tell it hurts her a bit to have to say that and like feel that way because she knows them to be good people, but it's like this one little thing that kind of like would irk her, and that would irk me too if like some people I used to work with just said something that kind of looked like they're just saying a bunch of fuckery online, and it's like because I know they're like better than that. Like everybody knows they're better than that. Like most people that understand they're better than that. Like when you take a time to just look outside of your own head, you're like, okay, maybe I'm like missing a thing. I should probably talk to other people. Because like, I think when Mike spoke to her, it probably helped, but I think Anna just got back into that again. And whatever it is that pissed her off about that kind of got to her again this week. I think that's what it is. I think something just reminded her.
It seems like she saw the clip that we did on Leftist Mafia, and she saw it weeks after it happened. I don't know why.
Yeah, and maybe somebody went to her about it, but everybody meant well. Nobody is like absolutely trashing her like that. It's just that they're trashing that bit of it because everybody knows her track record. So it's like, so nobody's questioning her track record, but it's like it's gonna question your reputation amongst like other people that are not in the media aspect of it, like that produce the media. It's like, or people that want to produce the media, and then they used to want to be like, oh, I want to be on TOT at some point. And it's like, but no. Right. They're gonna see that and they're like, I don't know if I'm gonna be like respected as much because of this situation.
Right. Right.
But that's all I'm gonna keep it at that, and then let you guys hash it out tomorrow or whatever. It's like it is a little heartbreaking for me, honestly, because it's also like you're watching. I mean, I don't have a real relationship with people. Like, I mean, we're kind of like I kind of talk more with you and Ray and stuff like that at times. But like other than that, it's like it is kind of like almost watching your friends fight a little bit, or like people you admire fight. It's like it is a bit upsetting and heartbreaking. But I hope, with time and people just understanding each other, I think it would improve.
I hope. Thanks for the call, Mega.
All right, later.
All right.
Later, Matt. I'll let you get to bed. All right.
All right, folks. That's it for today. Let's, I'll say, let me read I'm closing Skype. Let me read. Where is it? The super chats. Thank you, Catherine Wolf, for the super sticker. Midnight Pizza Man says, Matt, in a super chat, Matt, can you give us your thoughts on circumcision and men's oppression? Mark Robinson with a super chat. Thank you so much. Wanda with a $20 super chat. Thank you, Wanda. The leftist UK Novara Media covered Elon today, but they also covered the TYT mess. I hope Leftist Mafia can resolve this with TYT. I'm concerned about this rift. Well, the rift doesn't really affect me, honestly. I know they covered the Door thing I did, but obviously they've had a feud with Door for a while. It's direct. But other than that, I've never done anything with TYT. So, it doesn't really affect me one way or another. Nug Wrangler with a $20 super chat. You're a real one. Don't forget all the great crypto work too. I really appreciate that, Nug Wrangler. I almost said Nut Wrangler. Nug Wrangler. Thank you for that super chat and those kind words. Gabriel Gorski with a super chat. Great work. Love your Thursdays on MR. Thank you so much, Gabriel. Foresto Montero with 2 super chats. For the British caller, I wanted to promote Jim Sterling as a trans lefty streamer. They primarily do games, but mixed with unapologetic left politics. And one of these days, you should do an all-call day. I should. It'll make my life easier too, honestly. Oh, I saw a chat message before. Hassan pronounced your last name wrong, but then he got it right or something. What was Hassan talking about that he brought me up? What Hassan pronounced your last name wrong. What did Hassan say? I don't care about him pronouncing my name wrong. I was wondering what the conversation was about that I came up. Oh, he watched the TYT. Oh boy. All right. Okay, got it. Yeah. It's very funny that the focus is on Olay. I mean, I guess because she, I don't know. She brought up that Anna's white, a white woman. I mean, I think that's what did it, honestly. But I'm the one who took it to that next level because I felt it needed to be. It was getting a little bit like, come on. Right, the exact phrase that Olay used was coddled white woman. Right. That whole phrase probably did it. Christ. I don't know. I don't really want to. I can't believe I'm already disappointed with how much time I spent on it. But I mean, you guys wanted to talk about it. Let's see over on Twitch. Oh, who should I raid? Who should I raid, by the way? Oh, yeah. Just in case you're not, patreon.com/MattBinder if you can. I just want one last reminder. If you can become a Patreon subscriber, patreon.com/MattBinder. Who should we raid? Who's DTL Dabs? What are they talking about? What is the DTL Dabs talk about? What's their content like? I'm looking who's on right now. Who's Mike Mizastic? Or Mike Mizak? Honey Bunches of Ghosts says raid someone talking about the TYT drama to satiate your audience. Yeah, I don't really want to. Who's Bleep Bloop Ben? Bleep Blomp Ben. Is that what you're talking about? Bleep Blomp Ben. Let's raid Bleep Blomp Ben. I feel like I've been asked to raid Bleep Blomp Ben before. Who's Benny? Oh, is that Bleep Blomp Ben? All right, let me do that. All right, everybody. I appreciate your viewership tonight. Always a pleasure. Once again, patreon.com/MattBinder if you can, youtube.com/MattBinder, twitch.tv/MattBinder, and of course, follow me on Twitter @MattBinder for as long as you can. And I will see you all next time on Doomed. And see you on Majority Report and Leftist Mafia tomorrow as well. Goodbye.